That is how we do it here on GOGcom's Twitch channel. What's going on, everybody? Welcome, Goglings, Gogorifics, and Gog Peoples. Welcome to episode 413 of this Pen and Pixels. Welcome to episode 413 of Pen and Pixels, and welcome to Talisman Adventures. I am very excited to welcome you all to Talisman Adventures, the Nightmare Invasion. This is the final adventure, as you folks know, of the overall campaign. It's not the final session, but it is the final adventure of the campaign that the crew is currently involved with, after which we will be shifting to Saltmarsh exclusively twice a month over here. But at the moment, we are still doing some Talisman Adventures stuff, which is awesome, and I am very excited for it. I was talking to the players today, and I think if all goes well, that we may be able to, we might be wrapping this up sometime around ArvCon time, which might be a nice time to do it. So we will see if that is the case. But I am very excited to welcome you all back to this lovely show we know as Talisman Adventures. And before we get there, just a couple of quick notes. If you haven't done so already, please follow us here on GOGcom's Twitch channel. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to subscribe to us here on GOGcom's Twitch channel, because that also really helps out all of us, all of the streamers, and allows you to get those custom sub badges and emotes to show off here, there, and everywhere across Twitch, DRM free, of course. And if you have not already done so, please consider clicking through and checking out our individual channels, because we have our own individual subsystems and Patreons and good stuff like that as well. Quick note, this is the last Pen and Pixels of February. In the month of March, we should have some Talisman Adventures. We should have some Ghosts of Saltmarsh, and we will also have the conclusion. I don't know if it'll be the next session or it'll be the second or like the session after that of Dredge, which we will wrap up in March. And then we'll set up for a new game coming up in April. So very excited about all of that. But it is Talisman Adventures time, folks. And so now I'm going to unmute myself and apologize unreservedly to anyone I interrupted because I couldn't hear them. And then I'm going to unmute them. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to go over to reveal. Let me make sure I've got the right one. Yes, I do. The Talisman Adventures crew, -1. We have one person that is not with us tonight because of schedule conflicts. And that is Pyron, who's exhausted. No, just kidding. Pyron is exhausted, but is still with us, which shows the commitment, the full commitment, chat, that this team has. And by the way, I'm going to be teasing this quite a bit over the next few months. But if those of you who are in Europe, and those of you who like things like tabletop role playing and Dungeons and Dragons, you should probably just be aware that there may be events on the horizon. We are not at liberty to talk about what those mean, but they may or may not involve some of your favorite D&D streamer and players may be involved in something. Again, who knows what the winds will bring us, but it would not be a bad idea for you to, keep your calendars open in the late summer is all I'm saying. Just like be aware that maybe, Europe and D&D are meant for each other, if you know what I'm saying. We will talk more about the specifics of whatever I'm talking about, which I'm sure is nothing at all, over the next few months. But there's going to be more coming from this crew is what I'm saying. But tonight we've got some Talisman Adventures, and I will first of all welcome Pyron. I'm sorry that you are tired, but I hope that this will awaken you we're beginning with the chase, so it's literally beginning with Regina chasing after somebody. So maybe that helps a little bit. We'll try to get some good music, some good pulsing music to get things going. How are you, Pyron, besides tired? How's everything with you, and who are you playing tonight?
Hello. Well, besides tired, I'm actually quite good, I would say, although my headset just lost sound on the right side. I will have to check into that in a moment.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm doing fine. It was a long day. My older son came in the evening and I was like, I'm having a Spanish test and I don't know how to conjugate verbs. And I was like, yes. Well then, let's do that. So that was what I did this evening. But at least he asked for help, and that's all nice.
That's good.
So I'm playing Regina Augusta III, who is a sprite. That doesn't really like other sprites because other sprites didn't like her, and but maybe they didn't like her because she didn't like it. It was a very complicated situation, which resulted in her being in exile from the Seelie and Unseelie courts. So that's a thing. and she usually likes to drink stuff, hit people, fly around, have opinions, and be angry at things.
Drink stuff, hit things, have opinions. That's a very, I very simple, very clear. I love it all. And yes, I'm very excited to see what Regina gets up to tonight. I'm also excited, of course, to see what happens with Dark Saber 2K's character. I will say, first of all, thank you as always, Saber, for Moobot and Dashboard, etc. I really appreciate that. How are you? How is life in the universe with you? What's cooking on in your neck of the woods, and who are you playing today?
Well, I'm going to have to resist the urge to airstrike every problem we face tonight because I've been playing a lot of Helldivers 2 with my
Ah, yes.
friends.
So is it good? Have you been having fun with
It's
Helldivers?
fantastic. It's so
Yeah.
much fun, and the way they've done it, because the friendly fire is a natural part of it. It's just you just suddenly get ragdolled. It's very slapstick with the kinds of accidents that happen. Like you get hit with a grenade, you drop the grenade, you can have this disaster domino effect, setting
Okay.
everybody off, and yeah, very fun
I
times.
feel like this took over the exact same spot. I may have mentioned this previously, but I feel like this took over the spot that Lethal Company was holding on Twitch for a while, where like everybody was
Mm.
playing it and it was goofy and like everyone was, and all of a sudden like Lethal Company vanished and now everyone's like Helldivers. I'm like, wow. So I was curious about a report from the front. So okay, cool. I'm glad to hear that it is fun times. That's good.
Yeah, and anyway, tonight I will be Reginald, no relation to above. Just accidentally turned out that way when we revealed our character names.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a ghoul druid who tends a graveyard in the city, as, like you say, trained as a druid to better understand the role life tends to take in the balance of death, because ghouls tend to be more interested in what happens after people die. They like to help usher the souls on and make sure the bodies are disposed of, or hand them off to a nearby necromancer for gold. There's good sorts and bad sorts.
Yeah, absolutely. But Reginald is definitely one of the good sorts. I should say that maybe the twist at the very end of the campaign will be that there is a long lost cousin relationship separated by like 20 degrees between Regina and Reginald. Like maybe somehow. No way. It's not possible.
I don't even want to contemplate.
I don't think that's how that works.
There's a lot of
Not-
genetic drift, but like it's possible. Okay, maybe not. But it's a pleasure to have Reginald with us and have Darksaber 2K with us. We do not have Peripheral Mike with us tonight. We will have Mike back with us next month. Everything is okay. It's just we had schedule conflicts that Mike couldn't get beyond, and I did not want us to have to skip out of Talisman Adventures completely if I could avoid it. One, because I like it. Two, because we do need to at some point move this ahead and finish it, and so I wanted to keep going with that. So Mike will not be with us tonight, but Mike is a good person in lump, will be very preoccupied, I suspect, for much of the session today. But we do have with us, of course, Undeveloped Bruce, who is with us right now. So it's good to see you, Bruce. How is life in the universe and everything? Did I understand that there was that it's been somewhat cold where you are, and but you have a blanket, and so it's all good? I only just logged on when I heard something about that. Can you confirm, and who are you playing tonight?
Yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's really not cold here at all. But my heating turned off at 7 because I usually go to bed at like 8 or 9. So before the time that
Oh.
this stream begins after my bedtime, because I'm on, I don't know, 10-year-old school child's time, have dinner at 5 p.m. and a biscuit before bed at 8.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got my blanket on. Hopefully it doesn't make me too sleepy. And yeah, the universe is great. Specifically, my dogs are awesome.
Oh, that's
We
really good to
found
hear, actually.
It is, yeah, they're doing great. And yeah, everything's fine. There was a lot of stress for a while, but it's all calmed down and
I'm really
everything's
glad to
nice
hear
now.
that. That's good. That's more important than anything else. I don't even care about who you're playing. I'm just glad your dog's okay. No, I do.
Yeah.
I do actually care about you. That too.
So yeah, who I'm playing is Hwedel Weds Cragman. He's a dwarven minstrel from the Crags. And he has painted himself to the people of the city as the hero who will have everything solved before any more nightmares happen, guaranteed, 100% definitely gonna happen. So he's looking for an out if we can't get this sorted today. He's gonna skip town. Never to be seen again.
Cassie, don't ask about the wizard.
Don't ask about the wizard.
I had completely forgotten about that promise.
It really is like Schrodinger's wizard, right? Like, is the wizard even there if you don't see him there? Like, we don't.
It gets worse the longer we wait. At this point, he's just starting to smell.
He just.
Somebody will rescue him, I'm sure.
Oh man, you're
It's
just gonna
fine.
walk in and be
Quetzal-
like,
Queddle is going to run away with Unger Grey Heron, the harbour master, who is handsome and tall for a dwarf, dresses tidily, and advocates for fair wages for the harbour hands, according to my notes.
Yep.
So all Queddle has to do is convince this handsome dwarf he just met today to run away with him to far off lands. Then we're all good.
Yep. I think it all starts by explaining that, listen, I think I feel a real connection with you. We are going to need to skip town because I promised something to the citizens that I can't deliver. Is that for a first date? Is that okay? Like, can we make that happen? I'm sure that'll work great. I can't imagine. But I am very excited to have the crew with us, and let's talk about what happened last time. But I am going to make sure that we do so using, wait a second, just here. There we go. Let's get a little bit. Oh, no. Wait. No. We can't do that. I have a music called chase music. Wait a second. Let me make sure. No, is this? No, that's not good enough. I want to find. Okay. The reason I swear I'm not going to take forever looking for this. I just want to find one thing that says, okay, can I find that? Well, no, I can't use car chase. That's ridiculous. It's not a car, but there is a chase scene, and this is why. Okay, chase. Let's go. Aha! All right, let's see. Does this work?
An oldie time piano track.
Okay, chase pulse, right? Feral chase. Legrand chase.
Knowing us, we should probably just play. No.
All this and more will come back to haunt us later.
Yeah,
I've got an idea for that. I've got an idea for that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do. Okay, I've got three possibilities here. I was very tempted to do this one, which is.
That's what I had in mind.
Let's go. Oh my god. That's tremendous.
So the Reginald cast kangaroo legs.
We have to do that. We have to do that for
Regina
this.
steals a horse.
This is perfect. Oh my god. Okay. Also, good evening from an airport. Hey, Mike. Hello, Wholesome Horror Gaming.
Hey.
Yeah, if you have your if you have your character sheet, we would appreciate having it just in case, Wholesome Horror Gaming, if you can somehow get it to us via the power of multiple cell networks and things like that. It's good to see you, Mike. I hope everything safe travels and all that kind of stuff. So, in our last session, and I will actually fire this up with this here. In our last session, I'm not going to be able to take it seriously. I just won't be able to do that. In our last session, the crew has been there in the city trying to figure out what has been happening to create these circumstances of invasions of different kinds. There was an attack on the city of gargoyles, and what the party was able to determine is that, surprise, surprise, a talisman was partially responsible for all of these actions, and therefore they had to track down the talisman. The clown nose was a good addition to that. Burr, burr. Okay, you know what? I can't actually do that. I won't be able to take it seriously, and then I won't be able to finish because I'll just keep laughing. Once we actually get the chase started, we'll do that. Let's just do our standard, let's do a little bit of a city thing. We'll do that right now, then we'll come back to that. There we go. Wonderful. I know exactly, Darth Sisu. Who would have thought? It was a talisman. And that began a very difficult process involving the tracking down of the talisman, who had given it, sort of working their way backwards, who gave what to whom, and then working forwards to try to determine where the talisman had ended up next. After a series of clues and a variety of information, the party finally found itself in one of the city's main squares, and it was there talking to. Let's see if I have the. Yes, I do. In the Times Square, where there was one of Regina's favorite type of people. And that was a sprite. This sprite had curly blonde hair, as you can see, in an emerald tunic with gold trim and a cap with a yellow feather sticking out of it. And the sprite, whose name turns out was Ainley, was sitting down on top of a statue of one of the former kings, insulting the passersby. Is that a shirt, or did you knit your back hair? You might want to get checked for curses. I think you're turning into a frog. Does anyone else smell that? Yes, it's the distinctive smell of street urchin, etc., etc. So really pleasant stuff. Since Reginald had spoken to a ghoul, Lump had spoken to a troll, and as we've previously discussed, Hweddle had spoken to a handsome dwarf with which Hweddle hopes to run away. Having done all of these things, there was one person who hadn't spoken to anyone yet, and it was Regina, who therefore could speak to, quote, her own. With great reluctance, Regina went up to speak to Ainley and was rewarded with a sprite that repeatedly insulted her, which didn't make Regina feel any better about anything. But eventually, Regina, who was kind of pushing the point of what happened to the talisman, what is going on with this, how do you know about this, what happens to these other things, and what do you know about it, Ainley basically said, I'll remember about that thing, goodbye, and then basically bailed and flew off down the street. And so at the very end of our session last time, Regina, who had said, quote, I follow, was about to pursue Ainley to track down this person and to see whether or not they can get more information about this talisman. So that is basically the information that we have. And so now, as Ainley sets off, now I am going to start playing this music. Let's go.
Yeah, Regina has a plan.
Okay. Yes. So Ainley has headed off. And there are a series basically of tests that we want to do, but I want to hear what your plan is first.
I want to follow that sprite.
Okay.
So.
Oh, that's the plan?
My
plan is to follow. Okay.
But I'm going to fly past Hweddle.
Okay.
Shouting, we have to follow that sprite. And hope that Hweddle remembers that he can speed me up.
Okay, we have to follow that sprite. Okay, well, I think you're able to yell that out loud enough for Hweddle to hear it. So,
kangaroo legs.
Yeah, I'm sure that will work with no problem at all. I think it should be fine.
All right.
Okay, so here's the way that this is going to work. So you have 3 of you that are, well, I should say 4. Lump seems a little disconnected right now. But the 4 of you are basically going to be chasing after Ainley, I presume, unless you're just letting Regina do it. So I should ask Reginald and Hweddle are you also chasing after, or are you like, Godspeed, Regina, good luck? Like, how are you doing this?
Like I said, I'd like to take an action to cast animal features, spending one of my light fate, and going for the kangaroo legs again.
Yes. Okay, the kangaroo legs. Sounds good. Hweddle, what about you?
How quickly does Ainley, fly off? Am I, in this moment, am I likely to think, oh, I could keep up with that?
Ainley is pretty fast. You don't know that she would be incapable of... You might be able to catch up with her, but the problem is that, of course, she's flying and you're not. And so that's going to be a struggle, since there are a lot of people in the town square who are sort of pointing and staring as Ainley goes zipping off with Regina in hot pursuit.
All right. Hweddle wants to do 2 things.
Okay.
First off, he needs height vantage. So he's going to get a leg up from Lump to ride on his shoulders.
Okay.
A Lump's much better at getting through crowds. People do tend to move out of the way. And I think we've worked together enough that if Regina's going past and is gotta go fast, I am gonna cast speed on the sprite as it's going past.
Okay. That sounds good. So, given that you've done that, the way we're going to do this is I'm going to let each of you roll a test against using athletics, I believe, and I'll take either agility or brawn for this. And this is going to be testing to see how close you catch up or don't catch up to Ainley. Now, the way this works is that it's going to be based not on success or failures. It's going to be based on when you succeed, the Kismet die results. So it's successful rolls, and basically the Kismet die reaches this, and you have a certain number that you're trying to reach. You posted Lump's basic notes in the Discord. Okay, thank you very much, Mike. Thank you, Wholesome Heart Gaming. So okay. So, and we will see how that all goes. So, we're going to start. There's 3 of you, actually 4. I guess we should see. Do those things that he posted also indicate Lumps? Let me double check and see. Oh, and also, I think I may have info for Lump too. Hold on a second.
Lump has high strength but low agility, so I guess he would use brawn for this, and his brawn should be at least 6.
His brawn is 7.
See?
Yep. His brawn is 7. So brawn of 7. Okay. And we'll do this, I think, in order, more or less, actually, I think it works pretty well for us just to go in the column order, because Regina was the first one to go down anyway. Now, Regina, the big thing that speed thing is going to do for you is that when you have a success, when you get a success, you are going to get basically double the success you would normally because of the speed. So that will benefit you. So basically, every time one person would get a regular success roll, you will get 2 successes out of that. And you all have to reach a combined certain number of successes to catch up with Ainley. That's basically the idea.
Okay, so what you would like me an athletic test with, in my case, it's
Agility,
yes?
that's right.
I do have athletics.
All right.
But I could use agility, so that's why I can actually use agility. Yes, so it's my athletics plus agility, and I'm going to use a light fate. There we go.
Okay. Oh, right. And I should have mentioned that, that we have got, I have 4 dark fate, and we have got, let's see, 2 light fate for Weddle, right, is what you start with. 2 light fate for Regina.
Yes.
Lump's got 1 in case that comes up. And then we have 2 light fate for Reginald, I believe.
2 minus 1 for the kangaroo legs.
Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry. So 1 out of 8 light fate. Okay. Excellent.
Okay.
Lovely.
Target number. Blah, 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 blah. I think I've got it. I'm going to roll. There we go. I'm going to drop the 2 and go for the 20. And no, it's not a Kismet dice. I've got just the 6 like that. Okay, 20.
Okay. Okay, so that is 2 successes. I'm going to keep a note of this. What does that look like, by the way, as you're going through and doing this, Regina? Like, how does your catch up, your successful making progress look like?
It looks a little bit like a Naruto run, but in air.
Okay.
So I'm just like
So flat.
So I'm just like streaming forward, and my Regina's plan or not plan is just like, she is armored, the sprite is not. I'm just gonna fly into it.
Okay. All right. So you zip overhead as Ainley is just like, like sort of zipping around people and carts and things like that. Reginald, as you bounce along in your kangaroo legs, I need you to make a similar test, either with agility or brawn here.
I don't have athletics, so...
Okay, you do not have the skill.
No,
Thus,
I do not.
3d6. I'm trying to think, though, with the kangaroo thing, I'm trying to think if...
It gives me a speed of 31, if that factors into
Okay,
everything.
so then what I'll do is I'll give you the same thing I gave Regina, which is on a... Now, Regina has a boast already because she does have the skill. You don't, but if you are successful, you'll also get 2 successes towards the total.
But basically, Reginald's bouncing around behind, just flailing in the air, just like...
Bro! Yes. A kangaroo ghoul. A kangaroo, if you will.
Oh, that's my
Wow. And the light fate. Okay. Let's see. That is not enough, actually. That is, I'm just keeping track. So we still only have 2 successes. So what does it look like? I guess we already know. You're bouncing ahead. Yeah, you tell me.
Sure, I just landed on a market stall.
Yeah, pretty much. There's a big smashing, crunching sound that Lump and Weddle sort of arrive at a second later, like with just like a bunch of rotten tomatoes. Well, not rotten, but squished tomatoes on the ground and stuff like that. That you're arriving with. Okay. Let's aim for Lump now. Can we have Lump's roll? Lump does have athletics, right? I assume.
I
Yeah.
think he has.
Okay. And do we have? I wonder if he has he probably doesn't have a focus. So I think it's just 3d6 plus his aspect, which would be brawn.
+7. Oh, +7.
So we're looking at, is that a 16? It looks like.
Yeah.
Okay. That is a success. I can't give you the 2, but that is a success. So for Lump, is it just like Kool-Aid Man through the streets? Like he smashes through, like what does it look like, do you think, Bruce, how does Lump look when he smashes through various things?
He's totally focused, I reckon. Straight line. It's everyone else's responsibility to get out of the way of a moving troll. I think everyone already knows that. It's a
Right.
fundamental law of the universe.
Yes.
If he sees like a small child or something that is capable of being damaged irreparably, he might, step over the top. So he's not, he's not looking to murder anyone with his...
Right.
I'm pretty sure we can also hear his voice. Sorry, coming
Yeah.
through.
I thought he was doing like a sorry, like a siren, as he's like, sorry, like he's running
and
through the streets.
he's on all fours, I reckon. He uses his fists as he's running.
Oh,
doesn't
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So he gets through. Okay, that's 3 successes so far. Weddle, that leads us to you. You cast speed on the sprite. You're not. Do you have any ability to cast speed on yourself? In addition, or not? Okay. All right. So you were just running straight ahead after Lump.
Yeah. 3d6. Bald. Let's go. It's fine. I'll stay here.
Do you get stuck behind I assume that once he smashes through, you get stuck behind the cart like pieces or something like, because someone what happens?
Slip on the tomatoes that were squashed by Reginald.
Just comically, and then sort of land, and someone is looking down at you. Oh, who's gonna pay for my cart? And they're sort of glaring down at you, Weddle.
The mayor.
The mayor, at which point you probably scrambled up and are getting along. Okay, that brings us up to the top of the round. Ainley zips twice again, like left and right, and then goes into a smaller sort of like little alleyway, which is covered with basically like clothing that's like drying, hanging down from windows and stuff like that, and sometimes suspended in a clothesline from one window to the other. So there's a bunch of clothes during where you're running next. And with that, Regina, you are up next. I also just saw your comment in chat, Pyron. Really?
What?
It's a bad
Yep.
name. Yes,
I think it is. Seriously.
I'm just the messenger. It's Ain Lee. Ain.
Yeah,
2 syllables.
I would claim
2
that
syllables.
as well, but her last name is retentive or something, I'm sure.
Nobody's ever
Just
twisted
like-
fantasy spelling for the lulz before.
Oh man.
Okay. I guess I might need another light fade when I finally catch up to her, so I'm just gonna roll like this. Wow. I should have used light fade here.
Smack, like one of the shirts like hits you square in the face, and you kind of like stagger back a little bit and then sort of fly around it as you were heading along. That is unfortunately not a success. Reginald, what about you as you bounce into this alleyway with clothes?
Okay, I'm going to spend a light fate to roll 4d6.
Okay.
Because that's all I can do. Just because I got the kangaroo legs doesn't mean I know how to use them.
That's right. You're still sitting at 1, right, of light fate because you got a light fate the last time?
Yeah, so I'm back down to 1 again.
Okay.
Ooh, and I got it back again.
Wow, check you out. Okay. Yes, you were able actually to sort of leap through. You zip past Regina, who is currently struggling to get out of a shirt arm, like on the clothesline as you zip past, jumping up and past. So that is another 2 successes, which means you're up to 5 successes now as a group. Ainley continues to is heading towards the end of the alleyway, which leads us to Lump, who is now heads into takes a left turn and charges down the alleyway, which is maybe not quite wide enough for Lump, but Lump is going to make it wide enough apparently. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I assume. I'm guessing that since there are no people here, Weddle, Lump does. I should say Bruce for this. I assume Lump has no concern for barrels, crates, or walls that may get in the way theoretically.
Yeah, those things they mean about as much as butter, You'll notice maybe a light scratching against his arms as he's carving lump-shaped shoulders.
Yep.
All along the.
He's widening the
alley.
highway, which we've been asking for a long time, and it took a troll to make it happen. Awesome. Okay, that works for Lump. Up to 6 successes now. Weddle, you having got clear of the angry merchant, even though you are now your pants are covered in tomato, you are now making your way to where you saw everyone disappear into the alleyway. So as you head into the alleyway, you can see there's a lot going on. You can see the Lump shoulders thing. Exactly. So let's see how Weddle is going to handle this.
I was gonna say that Weddle's gonna be really careful not to get tomato juice on people's washing, but I'm gonna assume that all of this washing is just attached to the front of Lump with the lines
I would say,
behind
there's
him.
some that's high, and that would be attached to Regina, but the lower ones that are on the ground floor, yeah. Sure.
We're laundry bandits
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
Excellent. I'm going to use a light fate to give myself an extra die to choose from.
Isn't it tomato juice is supposed to get rid of the scent of skunk? So there's a cleaning element to this. There's like that. What do we got here? Is that a 13? Is that what I see? That is not.
It's a 12 because I have to get rid of one of the
Oh, that's right.
numbers.
It's a 12. Yeah, that's not quite enough, Weddle. So I know you can see the clothes that are there, but a lot of the clothes lines, you're sort of dodging over and half tripping on as you're bringing up the rear. Good news is
And
there's
the
no people
rubble
to
and
yell at you.
spray of gravel that's coming up behind Weddle and bits of mortar chipping off the buildings behind him.
Yeah, it's very much like when, the cartoon zzz, except that you're not actually doing the zzz part. You're just building it up. Okay, that brings us to the top of the round with Regina. 6 successes so far, Regina. Ainley gets to the end of the alleyway and then flits to the right and is heading towards what seems as you sort of get to the end of the alleyway and sort of turn right along with her, you can see that she is heading to a place which looks like it's a fairly decent-sized street with brightly, gaily colored flags that are down there. Just tons and tons of flags. And Ainley is making right for the flags.
Okay. So yeah, just chasing after her. Maybe now stretching the arms to the front because just to catch this stamp sprite.
Mm-hmm.
What is actually going on here? There
Ooh,
we
look
go.
at that.
21.
Very nice. 8 successes. Yes, you are definitely closing in. You're not there yet, but you are closing in on Ainley, who you can see is losing ground. Perhaps your understanding of your people, or perhaps your incredible rage at this obnoxious sprite is a big part of what's powering you, Regina, but it definitely is doing it as you go through.
And Weddle's spell that doubles my speed.
But yeah, okay, look, I wanted to focus on your skill, okay? Yes, the spell may have a little minor thing to do with that, yes. So you zip along. Ainley is basically slaloming between the flagpoles. So you're more or less doing the same thing, like zip, 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 you know.
If I can fly in a straight line, especially at this speed, and just crunch through things, I'll also crunch through things.
Possibly. Okay. You're not Lump though. You may not be able to just bull your way through the flags, but something like that. You're able to avoid some and like kind of like hit others as you go along. Okay. Reginald, you bounce right out of the alleyway, and you're heading towards these brightly colored flags.
Yeah, so I'm going to spend another light fate to give myself 46. Oh no, that's 2 1s.
Oh
no. I'm head first in a barrel after trying to kick off a wall to come around the corner faster. Just miss it up, head first in a barrel.
Right there. Yep.
Yep.
So, and in that scenario, let's see. And actually, give me 1 second here. Oh, I needed to give you an additional 2 successes when you got that Kismet die before. My bad. So you actually are at 10 successes, not 8. This one, though, that's 2 1s, but fortunately it's not the Kismet die. Otherwise, you would have lost ground, but you did not. So instead, you're just sitting in a barrel, which is helpful as Lump comes right past you. Lump is vaguely aware that there are these kangaroo legs sitting out of a barrel, sort of, you know, as Lump goes by. All right, Lump. Lump does the classic cartoon, like as you know he's going around the corner to head right. Okay, Bruce, if you wouldn't mind, let's see what we can get out of Lump here.
All right.
Some music. Wow, just like it charges through like. Lump actually probably grabs a flag on the way by and is like waving it behind them, but is not affected at all by this stuff. So that is another success. That is 11 successes. And now you can see, Lump can also see that both Regina and he are getting quite close now to Ainley. She is ahead, but not by much as she heads through. Weddle, you having just like, you know, I want to see whether you finally get out of the gravel circle at this point. So
yeah.
let's see it again.
Quaddles, he's trying to keep up on his little dwarf legs. He's covered in tomato juice, which is sticky, which all of the dirt and the gravel and mortar is sticking to. He's just coming up through this alley when a bloody barrel has come out of nowhere that a kangaroo's just been plucked out of. He is going to use his last remaining light fate in order to attempt to keep up.
I love it. What do you got? Is that a 17 that I see?
No. It's a 14.
14 is enough, though. That's right, because I'm looking at that. Yeah, that's right. 14 is enough, though. So you are able to actually sort of like, you know, get up and then like out of the alley so that you're in the, you can actually end up in the street where you see this whole array of flags. And then you see one flag being moved apparently by itself, which probably means that Lump has it. That's like running down the street after the rest of them. So that brings us up to 12 successes. Which brings us up to the top of the round. Very close, Regina, but also Ainley, as she sort of darts left again, you can see that Ainley may also be headed for the docks. And once Ainley gets out over the ocean, you're gonna have a hard time catching her. So you're almost there. You gotta pick her up before she gets there. So Regina, what do you? It's up to you with your rolls.
Wow, no pressure at all. Okay, here
Should
we
be
go.
fine.
Okay. So I'm gonna use my last light fate and go for it. Wow.
Oh. Wow. That roll is not going to do it. So what happens as you like head out of the Flags Alley street towards the docks area? Like, did you just?
I overshoot.
Oh.
I'm so damn fast. He just does another little turn, and I'm just going like over the ocean, crossing the through the sound barrier, a little pop.
Yeah, she pod racing Phantom Menace like brakes, so you just go screaming past, right? And
Yep.
then hits the
And
thing
I just
again.
completely overshoot and like go like can't stop, won't stop. Yeah.
All right, that's gonna lead us up to Reginald. You hear her sort of cackling as she then heads off in another direction. Reginald, you kick out of the barrel, presumably,
Yeah.
or do you just jump onto your legs and now it's just the barrel on your like torso as you kangaroo through the streets? You tell me.
Yeah, kick my feet through the bottom of the barrel now. And proceed on my way using my
my
last light fate.
God.
Oh, come on! 2 ones again.
Well, you're wearing a
Okay,
barrel.
Now I have 2 small wooden crates on my feet, and somehow I have one stuck on my head.
It's very true. Tonight on Tales of Refugees.
Just wearing the basket.
Okay, Ainley looks to be heading there. It's gonna be close. All right, Lump. Lump, who's just been charging down with the flag. All right, Bruce. Let's see whether Lump
right.
can keep things up.
Lump is going to use a light fate to roll a 4th die that he will choose one to get rid of after.
I am appreciating the use of this life fate, I have to tell you all.
Yeah, we don't usually really use it much, do we?
No, well, but just once in a while, not as much at a time. Oh my God, Lump, I don't think has missed, has he? So Lump just like charges ahead, and I think what I'm going to say narratively here is because Weddle, basically Lump is closing in. But I'm going to give you an opportunity here because you did manage to get to the other side of the street. You might have been able through a couple of shortcuts and basically you kind of were knocked forward onto a wagon and then rolled forward and jumped up. But what ended up happening is you basically end up right near Lump. So I'm going to give you an opportunity, if you get a success here, to have Lump take you the rest of the way to Ainley. The last shall be first. So let's see whether it works, though. Although I think you're out of light fate, right?
Yeah, I'm out of light fate, so this is a bold dice. Is that?
Yeah, but don't roll it yet, though. Chat, if anyone has inspiration from my channel, this would be a time to use it. If anyone has watched before and has inspiration for use from my channel, you could use it here in this scenario. If we have anyone in chat who has an inspiration, let's see if they do. I saw Dragon Spear here before. Yes, Inspire. Effect Life is going to use it. Awesome. Okay, so that means that I'm going to allow you to basically add another die to this. So 46 Weddle instead of 3. And I'm going to...
Thank you, Effect Life. This one's going out to you, my friend. I'm sorry.
It was going out to you, and then... Okay. So...
This is a Talisman game, all right?
A second. Yep.
So many ones.
Boy, it totally fits.
I mean, just for him, can I... Oh, just for them, I don't know what their gender is. Just for Effect Life, Weddle is gonna go head first into a huge crate of very stinky fish. You know?
Just smash. And sort of rolls away, which means she's right about to the water. So this is your last round, folks. Got to do it or else. Regina, this is going to be up to you starting out. You are charging in. You can see that she's like a bee right towards the docks. So you got a shot here if you can make it happen.
Yeah, so I've just realized that nobody's in front of me.
Yeah, exactly. Where'd everyone go?
So
You do hear some terrible smashing sounds from behind you, though.
That is really weird because it wasn't me, but
right.
You know, whatever. So I'll fly. So I take a turn and fly in the right direction, hopefully.
All right.
Yeah, and the other flying person.
Okay.
And let's see, because I'm out of light fate now.
Wow.
So without light fate, this is how we go. Yeah?
That's how you do it. Oh, of course. Okay. So 14 successes. You are right, almost able to grab Ainley's wing, but also Ainley is almost to escape velocity, let us say. So Reginald, let's see. We're 14 successes as you bound ahead.
Broken off. Yeah, the crates are broken off at this point. I have to pull the other one up and still got a barrel because that tail's tricky. I've got no life fate. I got nothing. It's going to be a flat 3d6 and 10.
Yep. Not quite. You're just like, ugh! Like,
I just boinged straight past it into the dock.
looks like it's going to be up to Lump and Hweddle. All right, let's see what Lump does. Can Lump do what he does? What do we got? I can't see that.
16.
16. Okay. So, Regina, you were able to just sort of kind of clip Ainley's wing, and Ainley kind of like and starts heading downwards, and then Lump sort of like does this flying tackle maneuver, and just literally at the docks, so like grabs Ainley's leg, and you like there's this massive crash, and there's this huge trough like put in through the dock with Lump's body that just like and like just with his arm dangling over the edge holding on to Ainley. And Ainley is like, let me go. Ow, guards, I'll sue. Let me go.
I fly in front of her face and say, "Got you."
I'm being harassed, abused, ow.
Reginald's spinning slowly in the barrel in the harbour. It's a bit tricky to get out of. Like,
Let me go back to you, and it's the zzz,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Okay.
I look for one of the more intelligent members of the group. Maybe Reginald or Hweddle will appear, because
Weddle probably shows up at this point, right? It's at some point.
Yeah, I mean, we're at the docks again now, and he doesn't really want Unger to see him like this, covered in tomato and grime and fish. He might just quickly take a dip in the sea to wash some of it off.
And just ignoring Ainley, like just being like, excuse me a minute, just like jumps into the water.
Yeah, I mean, this is far more important. Like, if Unger shows up now, his chances are gone, you know? Yeah.
That's really funny. Okay.
okay.
So it's up to you, Regina,
Regi-
it looks like.
Okay, wonderful. Regina sees no help coming, so she says to Ainley, "Shut up."
What does that smell? Fish. And why did he jump in the water? What is wrong with you people?
That's a
climbing
very
up over the
complicated
side of the dock, just like, I don't know.
Also, just
Trying
as
to kick up a kangaroo leg to pull myself over the
That's
side.
right. As a reminder, by the way, just so you know, you had wanted to find out, because Ainley was apparently the source of this, like where you had said you wanted to ask about the origin of the talisman, but also you had also mentioned that you wanted to know more about the Wraith Lord that Ainley kept talking about. Like that was the only thing she cared about, was the Wraith Lord and all this stuff. So I just wanted to remind you, because it's been a while, that those were two things, the Wraith Lord and the talisman, that you all had said at some point you wanted to find more out about one way or the other. So, and
I
she
can't
just kind
remember.
of
Did I
sits
do
there in Lump's hand.
Did Reginald do a law check? I feel like he would have, but I don't remember doing one for that.
On the talisman?
On the Wraith Lord.
Yes. You did do a lore check. I don't remember whether we recall whether it was successful or not. Why don't you do another one now, actually?
Yeah.
You might have had a chance to, your kangaroo legs may have spurred more interest, with this.
Yeah, shook up the brain thinking meets.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to be plus because I do have law. So 5 plus 2. There we go.
Aha.
19.
So we're looking at a
With
19.
2 4s.
Yes, you have heard of the Wraith Lord. So the Wraith Lord is a powerful immortal spirit. And it is a spirit that is responsible, frankly, does not wish those in the living realm well. And the Wraith Lord, as this powerful immortal spirit, lives in a realm far below the city. You are not familiar with many of the Wraith Lord being involved with this sort of... usually the Wraith Lord stays out of stuff like this, but something may have brought him to the surface. he is not a fan of the sort of traditional path of life to death. And basically, the Wraith Lord has tried on multiple occasions to interfere with the natural passage of life so as to gain more power unto himself. No one knows exactly how much power they have. It's often used as like a name to frighten children. You know, you better behave or the Wraith Lord will come get you. But you know that the Wraith Lord is actually definitely real and definitely dangerous, though you have never seen him.
I'll relay that information to everyone, and also point out this, I think, basically makes him my arch enemy.
Wow, now you got an arch enemy. Well, that's a thing that happened today. I
Crashed
think
a merchant
Annalie is,
shop, got stuck in a barrel, got an
I
arch
think
enemy.
Annalie is my arch enemy now. I look at Annalie.
Meh.
Tomatoes
see?
are my worst enemy.
There we go.
What about you, Lump? Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Pointy things.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Now no one's left out.
Unhappiness.
So,
My arch
Annalie,
enemy. Ainley.
I would say that as well if that was my name. So,
Yeah.
The Wraith Lord, I looked around, is doing... Is it... The Wraith Lord had the talisman, or what was the problem? And why yellow?
And so she says, yellow, what are you talking about? She doesn't seem to know anything about the yellow thing. But she does say, what was the other thing you asked just then? About
If the Wraith Lord has the talisman.
She said, the Wraith Lord sent the talisman in the first place. And by the way, he sends his compliments to all of you clueless folk. Ow, let me go.
At least
So-
we're not named after a butt.
It's
Also, I like
Ainley.
getting...
The name is from my mom's side. Yeah.
Also, I like getting compliments, so I don't see the problem here. So he sent, but the talisman is now out of the city. Is the Wraith Lord fine with that?
The talisman? You think it's out of the city?
Yes, that you think that's why I said that.
Oh, you're all funny. We'll see what happens, I guess. Maybe another night we'll see how far away the talisman actually is. Ow, you're hurting me. That's my wing.
I look to Gretel. Can we store her with the withered?
What?
I think she should see what happens tonight with us.
Quaddle climbing out. We are not waiting to see what happens tonight. We're sorting this before tonight, please. I got promises to keep. Ainley. Yeah, annually, whatever your name is, right? Where is the talisman? We're gonna sort this out.
Well, as far as where it is, I don't know now. It went to other people. I was the one who brought it there. I gave it to a bunch of other people. Remember, Ainley was the actual one who started this chain. So Ainley says that she has no idea where it is at this point, which may be true. It's past about 65 things. Yeah.
So you don't know of any way to detect the location of the talisman that was in your possession that you know more about than any of the rest of us?
It depends on whether you like knowing about dreams and nightmares.
I lean over and just go, I prefer the afterlife.
Well,
And I just stare.
Well, you'll be happy enough when my master decides to prove what's right with you, Mr. Gravekeeper.
I cannot dispute any word in that sentence.
I look at Annalie and say, like, so what you're trying to say, if I get this correctly, is that you are of no use to us whatsoever.
Yeah. I suppose you were the one who came to bother me. Ow, stop. Ow, it's my wing. You were
And
the
now
one
we
who was
don't-
bothering me.
And now we don't need you anymore.
Yeah. So? What are you gonna do? Kill me?
You-
Is that what good people do? Is that what you do? You kill people? Is that what good people do? Hmm?
I'm not.
I'm
good.
not good.
I'm not good people. I've never been good people.
I think I'm. Lump was probably going to go. I am good people.
See,
You're good
is.
at breaking my
I'm
back.
not.
Ow.
See, even good
Yes.
people are like that to you.
And good. Hweddle's going to be like, we got no reason to kill you, but we're going to turn you in, and take you to the guards and make sure that everyone in the city knows that you are the cause of everything that happened yesterday, and make sure that you suffer the consequences of the law.
Yeah. That's fine. My master will free me eventually. Ow.
That must be a very forgiving master if he respects failure that much.
Yeah,
not
I
a
don't respect
failure.
failure at all.
It's been a great success. While you're sitting here torturing me, the rest of the city is gonna, well, you'll see. Ow. Ugh.
We need a tin can. If we want to transport the Sprite, we need a tin can, like where you put cookies in.
I'm not that small.
I have a mess tin.
You have what?
I have a mess tin.
Oh, wonderful. That's a Sprite transportation unit.
Yeah, we'll find a small container to suitably size to uncomfortably transport a
And
Sprite,
then,
please.
then what we do is open the wizard's door, throw the can in, and shut the door.
When you close the can, oh, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Eventually, my master will come. Yeah, you'll see. What are you keeping this can anyway? It smells disgusting.
I think Lump did his business in it.
Ah.
Lump, you will need to shake the can from time to time to make sure that she's still alive.
What's fairies? It's like a glow stick, right?
Does Lump actually do that? Ah! You just do like, God damn it! Like you hear.
Hweddle doesn't want to say this, but he does look over to the others and he says, I think it might be time to face the wizard. I think he's probably more likely to be able to get answers either out of the Sprite or about how to find the talisman than, any guards or anything.
But I thought we'd just give the Sprite to the guards because it annoys the Sprite.
Maybe the wizard can track the talisman. We know more about its origins. Might have to be really apologetic, though.
Maybe he wants a Sprite.
Yeah, maybe he
Give
wants a
someone.
pet Sprite.
Yeah. Apparently, this Sprite likes having a master, so...
I heard that.
Yes, we're right here.
Nah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
probably where my vote is going now. I think we do need to, as someone who thinks we need to find the talisman before nightfall, for totally unselfish reasons.
But you have to see, if we don't find the talisman before nightfall, I'm pretty sure whatever happens will give us a good cover to leave the city.
Oh, and handing in the cause of all the problems to the guard will go a long way.
Yeah. I feel
Okay,
like
okay.
We're doing good here.
Let's
Whatever
continue
happens,
to ignore the wizard. We'll go to the guard's house.
But then we should check in on the wizard, right?
We'll do the guards first, see what happens then.
Okay.
It's been 4 days?
No, it's just been like 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's fine. Just 48 hours.
I'm just trying to work out your chances of starvation.
Okay.
He had a whole bathtub, I think, so it should be fine.
So if you're heading to basically the guard barracks, the captain of the night guard is known at least to Reginald and probably well, I don't know if, because Regina's not native to the city, so probably Reginald would be the one who would know. I would say that all of you might have heard of him, though. His name is Cadian Arclight, and he is the captain of the Night Guard. In fact, he is not just any Arclight. He's a descendant of the famous knight Adalai Arclight, who's considered one of the great fighters in the history of the realm. So his son is captain of the Night Guard, and he is... he has this uncanny sense always of danger. And, Inspector Lestrade, who's incompetent in the Sherlock Holmes tales, he's like the opposite of that. He's like a very competent version of Lestrade. He takes no nonsense. And obviously he is responsible for sort of ferreting out threats, but also sort of managing the city's security. So when you arrive at the captain's home, he's actually outside, and he has a table open, he has a large table, and he has a map open on the table, and it looks like it's of the city, and he's pointing out different districts, and you can see as you all come up that there are these red X's that have been put in different places. These might be like, you're not sure what they are, but they're red X's on the city map. And when you come up, he's just saying, and he is, by the way, he's a man of middle years, kind of silver gray beard and hair, a little stocky, but surprisingly fast, and extraordinarily, as I said, clever. Like, is always like, eyes are always sort of looking around and kind of like assessing and figuring things out. And so when you come up, he's you can overhear him speaking to the rest of the guards, and he says, "The reality is, if we don't do something about this, and this, we're going to find ourselves in trouble in the first place. And we don't even know exactly what we're looking for. So I'm telling you, get the rest of them, bring them over to the house, and see what they can find there. And if they don't find anything, then send them over to the other district. There's got to be some place where we can track these things down." And then he goes on to talk to them. He seems preoccupied with this at the moment.
Hello there, Captain. We have a gift for you.
Look, I don't Oh, and he kind of recognizes. Oh, yes. Right, you've been doing work for the city before. You were the one who helped with the gargoyles, I think.
Pest
yes.
control.
And
Yes.
and he sort of nods to you, Reginald, and he says, "Ah, Reginald, you're a little bit far afield from your graveyard, aren't you?"
Can't ignore when the balance has been disrupted. I've been working with my friends here for a while now, tracking down talismans and oddities,
Well,
which we think you're dealing with here.
with what? With talismans?
I gesture over towards Annually.
Who is currently sitting in a tin. So you
Oh, that's a
gesture
good point.
over.
Love
you,
give the tin a shake.
you gesture over the mess tin. He's like, "A can?
I knock on the side of it.
Ah, blow it out your ear." And
So what we have here is a sprite who has admitted to us that she is working for a wraith lord and has brought a cursed necklace into the city, which has been passed around during the festival. Anyone who is wearing the necklace when they go to sleep will bring their nightmares to life in the city. And that is why the gargoyles came to life. And we're not certain who currently has the necklace or what nightmare they will bring.
so he hears all this and sort of and the men, actually 2 men, 2 women gathered around the table, all murmur to each other, looking very disturbed by this news. And
I quickly pull the others aside while they're conferring.
Okay.
I just had a very disturbing thought. What if they dream of the end of the world?
Then we won't have much to worry about for long, will we?
Well, I'm kind of attached to it.
I look down at
Still
his
rocking
feet.
on kangaroo legs.
Yeah, doesn't look very attached to me.
So Cadian says, but it could be anywhere in the city. We're not. Are we sure that it's still in the city?
the last person known to have it was Nosius, a short elven sailor with white hair and leathery skin, who set sail. But the sprite has informed us that he did not have possession of the necklace at the time that he set sail. He will have passed it on to somebody else, but we were not able to find out who. But we know that Nosius was the last person to have the necklace.
And he kind of nods and he says, that's terrible. It's the Festival of Strangers. We're not going to be able to shut the entire city down. And even if we could, how would we go door to door, ask people to tell us about any talismans they have? And he kind of like shakes his head and maybe, well, the great wizard himself wouldn't know how to track down the details here.
That's true. Have you seen a wooden necklace shaped like this by any chance?
No. If I had by this point, I probably wouldn't remember it, though. It's been knife work down here. We've had all sorts of work trying to track down what happened. The people are frantic with worry. And I can't say as I blame them. If I saw a bunch of gargoyles coming to life, that would have been my reaction too. And the gargoyles did enough of their own damage. In fact, I'm worried about the defenses of the city as it is. There's issues. I don't know that we have enough to be able to protect ourselves. Number one, the guard is thin. We lost a few of them, and they're spent sort of tracking down leads that they can find. But number two, even the physical defenses. And then he points to these red X's, and he says, here the walls weak, here too. I suppose anyone could get through the sewers here. And as for this building's unstable. Someone brings that thing down, they could kill many. But the attack could come from anywhere or nowhere. That's the problem. And he's sort of pointing at different, elements of the city defenses.
It could also be anything. You're trying to protect yourselves from a physical threat that obeys logic. Enemies have to cross a wall. They have to enter the city from certain points. But what if they just appear? Like the gargoyles. They didn't come in from outside. They were attacking from within. They were there one moment, and they weren't a moment before.
And
you need magical defenses.
Yeah, the other guards sort of murmur even more, disturbedly. And Cadian sort of looks at them and they shut up. And then he looks back to you and he says, it sounds right. Okay, the question is, how are we going to get these magic defenses? Can you put those together somehow, any of you? Any help you can give in bolstering the city defenses, I'll take. It's a little bit above me, to be honest.
We could do with finding someone who could maybe scry for such an item. In my experience, which I have with these items, they usually have a distinctive feel to them.
Well,
if only we knew where there might be a wizard.
No, we're never going to find one this time of day. The call-out charges are outrageous.
And then there was Gandalf Merlin, one of the great wizards, and he's been missing since... No, I'm just kidding. Dumbledore Gandalf, one of the great... No, just joking. And he says, well, we might be able to find some people that could help with some of those things, but I don't know. What would we do to bolster our defenses if it's not even protecting against the outside? How are we supposed to protect ourselves from something in the inside? And this, by the way, let me just explain, is mechanically going to give you an opportunity to, as a party, make some defenses. If you want to help bolster the city's defenses, I will take many, many, many different possible suggestions as to how something like that might look. Can't even tell you about skill checks or anything else because I don't know what you would suggest.
Sorry, I left my artificer in my other pants.
Regina is not really good at defense.
I mean, Lump's probably best placed to help fortify some walls.
I can help prepare healing.
But
I've got a healing skill.
But what if somebody maybe...
I could smell around for likely avenues of attack.
But I mean, what if somebody has the talisman and dreams of, like, monster hornets tonight?
I think we get monster hornets tonight in that case.
but
The
how
guards,
would we
every
make-
time you say anything now, the guards are like, "Mrr, mrr, mrr." Like, if it's possible for them to get even more disturbed with everything you say, that seems to be happening.
Okay, so
Or a dragon.
we might want to be careful about what we say around who.
I feel like, and Regina takes out her book. I feel like the best defense is a good offense, and we go and get the Wraith Lord.
Do you know where he lives?
The Wraith Lord and the
Oh,
In the
no.
sewers.
like they're probably like just babbling to each other at this point. The other ones.
Well, if we keep this
It's
up,
like
we're
you
gonna
just
be
said,
attacked
if
by
we
the Stay
stop
Puft
Satan.
Marshmallow Man.
Yeah, like if we stop Satan, could we do that? Like,
This is turning into choose the form of your destroyer.
All right.
the best possible
I-
thing, Mr. Stay Puft.
As loath as I am to say we should split the party,
No.
I think that Weddle does need to go home to, one, either talk to the wizard who has probably escaped from his room, but two, to talk to his friend whose house he has been staying in, Colevis Lawweaver, who is a dwarven scholar who knows a lot about talismans, and he would probably know if there is a way to track or sense them. So I feel like we either need to get a magic person in here, or a scholar, or both.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we're trying to be told that there's no time to find the necklace now and there is only time to fortify. But I still... Queddle's quite focused on the fact that he's promised to... that everything would be fine. So
So you and Lump go, and then
I think Lump should stay to do fortifications. That's definitely his strength.
you want to face an angry wizard on your own.
No. But, yeah, I don't know.
I think we should beat up the Wraith Lord until he fixes the problem he caused.
We don't know
That
where
would
to
be
find
really
the Wraith
great
Lord,
if we
though.
knew how to find the Wraith Lord.
I mean, the tin can knows.
Oh.
Hmm.
Let's find a quiet campfire.
So...
I don't like the sprite either.
Yeah, no,
So now, some of this is turning into an outtake from 24. Like, I don't like. Just,
Yeah, I'm definitely
we've got-
feeling like this
we-
is something
we
that
can-
Queddle wouldn't want to be around for
mean, really,
anyway.
Catch the tiny pliers.
and Lump neither, because Lump is also good. So maybe Weddle and Lump need to take care of the wizard, and we have a nice talk with the tin can and find out where the Wraith Lord is, and then we fight the Wraith Lord.
I'm not sure I want a 24 sprite.
I mean,
We
Okay,
don't
okay.
have to. We can ask her nicely first.
It's true, we've got less than 24.
We can ask her.
swear to
Because-
me.
Annalie, where's the Wraith Lord? I shout at the tin can.
He's coming soon enough, and it's Ainley.
You don't know,
Ainley.
do you?
Ainley, where is the Wraith Lord? Was the question.
He's in the realm underneath the city. He doesn't tell me where he is. He'll come when he wants, or not at all.
So how does he contact you?
He has a path that he treads in dreams. That's how he contacted me. That's how he contacts others through the talisman.
Seriously, you dreamt of the Wraith Lord and were like, yeah, now you're my master now?
Well, you can see for yourself what happened if you don't believe me. But that would be just like you, wouldn't it?
Nah, I
You've
don't
seen
believe you.
people turned into monsters, toads turned into miners. You think you've seen stuff.
I
We've
was turned into a doll.
We've seen a dog in an acorn.
What the hell are you people talking about?
Like, that don't impress us much. We just want to know where the Wraith Lord is.
For someone who goes on about dreams, you're awfully unimaginative.
And Cadian says, the sprite is in that tin?
Yeah,
Temporary containment.
it's a sprite transportation unit.
And you've interrogated them, and they've told you that the Wraith Lord is responsible?
Yes.
But it's like a fantasy, like saying that somehow an evil creature from one's dreams is waiting outside to get rid of naughty children. They're probably just making it up.
Yeah, well, she said that an evil creature is waiting outside, trying to get rid of the city, so it's very close.
And he kind of goes over to the tin. He goes, ding, ding, ding. Oh! It's not very big in here, you don't have to make it that loud. And Cadian says, oh, I'm sorry. Not sounding sorry. I suppose you don't have anything else to tell us then about when the Wraith Lord is coming to do all this? Huh. Not likely. The Wraith Lord makes his own decisions. And then Cadian picks up the can and turns it upside down and goes, and you hear, ow, 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 ow. And then says, This is the kind of treatment that you give people who are not part of the city's proper. And he says, you should talk to the authorities about it. And then he turns and he says, still, we can't know that what she's saying is true. She might just be trying to save her own skin. The Wraith Lord will save my skin.
He's not doing a very good job lately.
With Regina being a sprite originally from the Unseelie and Seelie courts and so on, what does she know about other realms?
I think it would depend on what sort of knowledge that she's trying to gather. She might know some of the basics. There are some legends that may have come through to Regina. So I would say that it depends, I guess, on what the nature of the information is. She certainly does not know it as intimately as her own world, but...
Well, Regina has traveled from one realm to another, so does she feel... Well, she feels confident all the time. So does she think... No, think is not good. Would Regina be able to, travel to another realm just because she is Regina?
Well, you mean... with some assistance, because she can't teleport herself, so you mean if the opportunity arises, you think that you want to know if she could make the trip?
It's we have people with lockpick who can open doors because they have training, they've done it before, they know what they're doing. If
Right.
Regina would find the entrance to another realm, would she know how to pass?
Presumably, or would know even if she couldn't how someone else could.
What?
Passing into a new realm, right? Like how she would actually go. Yeah, she might know. She might know about whether someone could get into who would be the kind of person that could get into another realm. Certainly, Regina would probably know something about that.
Okay.
Whether you would need magical talent or a particular kind of key or something like that.
So the Wraith Lord is in a realm under the city.
Allegedly, yes.
Says the tin can. And
Ainley!
maybe we could... Sorry, what?
Not a tin can, Ainley!
Okay, so Ainley claims
ambulatory.
So, Ainley, do you have any proof of there being a realm under the city? How does it look like?
It looks like this place, except not overrun by gargoyles.
So it's a mirror of the city.
You could say that, but I've never been there. It's just what the Wraith Lord, where he lives.
Mirror.
Didn't even get invited home. This right has issues.
All right.
So-
Quezzle, first off, would like to talk to the captain and try to convince him that despite the tricksy nature of the Ainsley Harriet sprite, that what she's saying is likely true. So he's going to say, look, here's the details that we have, right? We know that Ebba what's her name? Ebba Silverbow was wearing the necklace when she went to bed last night.
Mm-hmm.
She created the gargoyles, and she created them as part of a to help her get over a fear of gargoyles, right? That night she had a nightmare that the gargoyles had come to life and were attacking people, and when she woke up she found that it had happened. And with the link of this wraith with people's dreams, it just seems like too much of a coincidence not to be at least a valid option here. You know, we've got one instance now of somebody's nightmares coming true while they're wearing the necklace. We have a sprite who is saying, I got the necklace from a wraith who comes from this realm that he uses dreams to communicate with people. And, you know, I think that it is a valid hypothesis to be going off. I know it doesn't help because we don't know who's currently wearing the necklace, but I don't think we've got at the moment reason to disbelieve what she's saying.
Exactly. So Cadian, hearing this, kind of like takes, brings you all away from the tin can and from the other guards who have now just continually been talking with each other and murmuring for a while. And Cadian says, listen, what you're saying makes sense to me too. But if what you're saying is true, then the city's in incredible danger. Someone has a terrible dream, something monstrous that attacks. If that stuff is going to become real, then the people would be in a panic. We can't evacuate the entire city in that length of time. Maybe we need to keep everyone awake, make sure that no one sleeps tonight while we try to track down more information. We do need to shore up defenses, but we also need to find what we're working with. And I don't know what that is. There's only a couple of hours now before nighttime falls. And it is true, you may remember that the sun was sort of setting when you set out on this. So only have a couple more hours before actual, night falls completely.
All right. Well, call me mad if you like, but what if we announce a big event for the festival, a necklace party, everyone stays awake all night and has necklaces on. No, wait, we only want one person to have a necklace on. That would only add to confusion.
His eyes got really wide. You're like every necklace, and he's just like.
No.
What if we announced a prize for necklaces that match the description? Last person with the necklace gets a prize at the end of the festival. Well, no, by the end of the day.
How are you going to announce this, though? This is happening tonight.
I'm freestyling here.
Do we still have a draw? I think, did I draw a picture of what I thought the necklace looked like? Or no, I was drawing pictures of people that had the necklace.
Yes.
Right.
Which sort of dead ended at the sailor.
Yeah. I don't want to limit this by my own not very good quick creating skills here, but can Hweddle come up with a little ditty about whoever's got the triangle-shaped wooden necklace wins a prize at the guard's house before sunset or something, and just goes around singing it, gets his apprentice guy to go around singing it, and everyone's just gonna have a big sing-along. His ideas are... I don't know what's happening with Hweddle today. He's still thinking about Unger. He's a bit addled.
I just had this image
announcement.
I just had this image of the scene from the Blues Brothers where they're just driving the car around and they're just like, tonight, rhythm and blues review. And they somehow fill a 20,000 seat arena because they go to every conceivable place in the... Cadian says, I'll do all that I can, but as I say, we're stretched thin as it is. and someone has to tend to the defenses also. And how are we gonna? I mean, who's gonna conduct this thing? We're just gonna have people come to the square, and there'd be too many to fit, and he kind of trails off.
Yeah, no, you're right. This is a silly idea. If event planning, I know it takes a lot ahead of time. We'd have riots. Never mind.
We're looking for a needle in a haystack at the moment.
Maybe we do just shore up the defenses and find more information tomorrow.
But people sleep every night. We cannot just make defenses every night again, can we?
And Cadian says, unless this time it gives us more information. Perhaps it leads us to the person having the dream, depending on who it is. You already tracked down a lot of information after one night of attack, more than I could have imagined. Maybe you do that again, and you get more information later on.
Yeah. Like, if we are attacked by giant dung monsters, we go, right, we gotta go and find out what dung sweepers were sleeping, you know, at the time of the attack.
Behind you, you hear the guards, dung sweepers.
I turn around and glare
Dung
at him.
sweepers are a great institution of this city who protect us by keeping the streets clean and clear of disease. The
And they
dung
all settle
sweepers are
down.
amazing and protect us all.
Yeah, they all settle down. They look kind of shamefaced.
Dung sweeper. The dung sweeper. She hears everything that goes on in this city.
We did already talk to her, though.
She might have heard more.
Okay. I'm going to put myself solidly in camp, shore up the defenses.
Okay.
And whatever one would be the most visible. So if there's like, you know, out of all the places that the wall is really weak, whichever one is the most populated, where the most people would see me working, would like to go and or pile up some rocks.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's Hweddle's current plan.
A photo
don't
opportunity, if you will, for Hweddle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think that we are going to find the Wraith before sleepy times. I don't think we're going to find the necklace before sleepy times. I think we got to do what we can to give ourselves another full day of investigation tomorrow. What do you think, Lump? Yes, you are very smart, Weddle.
I've
And
never
handsome.
heard a greater comment ever. Triffid had pointed out in chat, what if the necklace bearer takes an afternoon nap, which is terrifying, but that also, what if only necklace bearers can attend this special event? But you know, the Cadian seems to be willing to go along with whatever you suggest, because clearly he is sort of at the end of his rope. He doesn't really know where the threat is coming from, and he's used to being the kind of guy who has to figure out where the threat is. In this case, it's like non-specific and could apply to literally anyone within the city. And so he's kind of at a loss. So he will go along with what you all decide. If it's bolstering defenses, he will go along with that. So something else, that he would go along with that.
I don't know. Reginald? Regina?
I can make some, like I say, I can help shore up their healing by making healing kits, I guess, for the preparations.
I mean, I can fly around very quickly and alert like guardsmen in the other parts of the city once we know where the attack is happening.
Okay.
If the attack is happening all over the city, we're just gonna be doomed, though. So that's the thing. Like monster hornets.
Stop giving people ideas.
Yeah, let's not do monster hornets.
Cadian says, do you... Oh, I'm sorry. Go
Oh
ahead.
no,
Go
it's a
ahead,
herd of rampaging playful kittens. Oh, how horrible. My nightmare. No.
Yes. I tried to think of the most harmless thing I could that I could think of. Something from my childhood.
Mr. Stay Puft.
I'm really thinking of like Titans from Attack on Titan, like over the city wall.
Yep. All of a sudden, it's Shadow of the Colossus all over again. Do you?
If that happens, I want to be allowed to go and kick the Red Lord again.
Cadian says, look, given how few of us we have at the moment, do you know any groups that we could maybe hire, people that we could help with the guard, like just for a night? And anything like that would help. What you said about bolstering the walls makes sense. I mean, training, warning, but, anything like that. Spell casting.
I lean over to this. I think he knows we know how to do more than we can.
I didn't really get what you just said. We have met a group of trolls. I mean, I don't know if this is typecasting, but they were pretty strong and could probably help with building of defenses and shoring up. What do you think, Lump? Yes. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we talked to a lot of people. Maybe the I'm just looking at the individual people we spoke to and can't actually think how any of them would be particularly helpful.
I mean, the gladiators might be useful.
Gladiators, yes.
So, and they can be hired because they fight for money. Or we could just like beat them again and say like, if we beat you, then you have to work tonight to fight unspecified nightmares.
I'm tapped out ideas-wise at this point.
Yeah, I think we all are.
Or we tell them it's all their fault and that's why they have to help us.
They have to help us.
That's what my mother always did.
So it sounds like you folks have several things that you've positioned. The hiring the trolls was one thing you suggested. Hiring the gladiators was the second thing you suggested. Someone talked about, I think, Bruce, you mentioned that Lump might be sort of like shoring up the walls or whatever else. Regina, you were going to also warn someone, or like you were going to fly to tell someone something. Maybe I missed that one.
I mean, if I would imagine that the guards will be stationed all over the city.
Mm-hmm, yep.
And maybe patrol the streets or things that guards do. And so if the attack happens, I could like try to like be speedy again and fly through the city and like point everybody like, the attack is happening at
the British
Wizard
are coming.
Square.
Okay. You're gonna be the
Or
Paul
whatever.
Revere
I mean, I
of this
could.
attack.
Although I guess the guards will have some kind of communication system already for that case, because that's what guards do. Like they ring bells or they use whistles or something.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I would like to I would go and try to find the entrance to the realm of the Red Lord instead.
Okay, so then what I think we're looking at is I will give you folks, so there's 2 hours basically before night is fallen and we're like well into the nighttime. So I will give you folks an opportunity to do, each of you to do 2 things. If that is like, going to train a group of people and then going to, shore up a gate, that's fine. Or if it's like going to, going to track down, going to persuade the trolls to join and then doing something else. I'll give you each an opportunity to do 2 things before you're going to have to, assuming you are reconvening somewhere. So that's the way that we will manage that. If that sounds okay. So given that that's the case, I guess I'll work from Pyron downward. So Pyron, Regina specifically, I know you said you wanted to try to find the Wraith Lord thing. Before that, what are you going to do? So let's figure out what those two things are.
I will try to find out whether it's me or Lump as the two gladiators who will go and talk to the gladiators.
Okay. Does
that
Lump
would
want
be-
to accompany Regina for that one then? For that first
No,
one?
if one of us should go, because if everyone can only do 2 actions, and Lump other action is going to be help fortify city walls, then
Yeah.
the question is if he wants to use his second action to talk to the gladiators.
I
Because I
thought-
always feel like Lump just keeps talking until the people agree with him, very slowly and very sternly.
I
Until
thought
people
maybe
agree.
he would talk to the trolls.
Okay, then I'll talk to the gladiators.
Okay, so you're going to talk to the gladiators. Lump's going to talk to the trolls. Reginald, what about you?
Well, one thing I want to do is, since I've got healing focus, definitely do something with shoring up their healing, whether it's helping them prepare med kits
Yep.
or instructing people on basic, casualties that be coming in, look for these things, triaging and
Yep.
things like that.
Maybe organizing healers from the High Temple and stuff like that. to do these
Yeah,
things.
and then, because I've got to focus on animal handling, so I might actually use the opportunity to check over their logistics, supply animals and things like that, make sure they're reasonable, or at least advise, like, don't put those out for anything that's an emergency. It's going to drop dead if you push it. Check on the state of all their logistics.
Gotcha. So, okay, so we're going to start with the healing for you with that coordination, and we're going to try some sort of animal handling version of things and logistics to kind of figure out whether they're logistically planned. Okay. Regina, you're going to start by talking to the gladiators, then you're going to see if you can find this Wraith Lord gate or whatever.
Yes.
And to be clear, just so you know, a realm below the city is extremely vague. Like, it may just
Yes.
be something in dreams or something. You don't know. Just so you know ahead of time. Okay. Lump is going to talk to the trolls, and then what's the second thing that Lump's going to do?
Fortify walls.
Okay. And then Huedel, what about you for your two things?
Huedel is going to not go home, but go to a different place where there are dwarven scholars that he knows, because he used to be a scholar before he decided that he wanted to go and live life. So, and he would like to quickly update them on the fact that there is a talisman in the city currently, tell them what it looks like, and get the scholar network going, so maybe they can create wanted posters and start, theorizing things to look for this necklace. So kind of like to give that order, or to say,
Okay.
this is what's going on.
And that's the
you-
first thing, right? That
Yeah.
Huedel's doing. Okay.
And then Huedel will want to join Lump in fortifying the walls,
Okay.
because it's a physical, visible thing, and he does need to be seen as, a hero of the city who is fortifying the walls,
It's a good thing I'm here to fortify these walls, good people. Like, lifting up.
Because
stuff.
he's like picking up a tiny brick and
Yeah. Okay. So I love it. Okay, so let's start with the I will not start with the top of the column. Let me start with, or maybe I will start with the top of the column. I will start with the top of the column then. Let me work with you first, Regina. So your first order of business is talking to the gladiators. So we're going to run these. We'll have I'm going to have these little mini vignettes for each of you, followed by a skill check, and in each of or a skill test. And in each of these cases, we're going to see whether it succeeds or whether it doesn't. But I will tell you that not all of the things that you're doing will have the same beneficial effect. But the more things that you get into place, the better an effect this will have for whatever is going to happen down the line. So there is mechanical benefit to what's going on here as we go through. It's also a good space to stop for just a moment and mention to everybody we're going to be playing for about another hour. You are joining us for episode 413 of Pen and Pixels. This is Talisman Adventures, the Nightmare Invasion, as we are moving into the latter portions of Act 2 of this 3-act adventure, which is the conclusion of our campaign in Talisman Adventures. If you like what you see in here, please follow us on GOG.com. Please sub to us here on GOG.com, and please support all of these individual people in all of their various endeavors with all the kind of cool stuff that they do, which we will talk about at the end of the session. But yeah, thank you all for being here. Okay, I will start with you, Regina. So when you fly off to talk to the gladiators, when you arrive there, they are the people that are there are basically doing something similar to what you saw before, except that they seem to be kind of in training. There are a bunch of them that are kind of like, and they're like, doing sort of, tap, 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 begin, hit, 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 begin. They're doing these sort of drills basically with each other. And when one of them sees you, he kind of waves you down and, Regina, well, welcome. It's about time you stopped wasting your time with the city. Why don't you come here and give us a hand? We're going to make sure that we're prepared and ready to go. Just a couple of quick strikes. We can get you in for a quick combat now. We have about a 10-minute slot that fits in.
Thank you very much. I would actually love that, but no. I am here on a mission from Commander Arclight because the city needs you.
The city always needs us. We're used to that. And everyone's like,
because we had the problem with the gargoyles last night, you might remember?
Yeah.
Yes? Yeah, okay, that's good. So when we came here, Lump and me and my friends, and we asked about the necklace. You might also remember that.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. This is actually going really well. So, and the necklace is causing the nightmares of people to come to life. And so the person who was sleeping with the necklace was afraid of gargoyles and said that's how we got all the gargoyles. And stuff like that is going to happen again this night. But we don't know who has the necklace now. So we don't know what they're going to have a nightmare of. So we don't actually know what is going to happen. But we do know that we need help. So we are now putting together defenses against the thing that is going to happen. And you're like all good fighters, and we have somebody with a really loud voice. So maybe we could fight against the thing that is going to happen and organize people by screaming at them and stuff like that. Either way, it's going to be really horrible tonight, and if we don't want to see the city in ruins, it would be really cool if you could help.
And they just stare at you with this exact same expression. You were concerned, Regina, that you may have left them behind at Nightmare, and that they're right now they're all sort of, they kind of blink, and then one says, "We're going to fight nightmares?" And they kind of look at each other.
True. Like the gargoyles.
You mean like my husband finds out I'm fighting here? That kind of nightmare?
Yes, actually, yes. Because if you had the magical necklace and you would now have a nightmare about your husband finding out that you're fighting here, then the city would get overrun by thousands of copies of your angry husband.
And then the guy says, I don't know, I think my husband's fairly attractive, actually. I don't think that's that bad.
Oh, that's really nice. But,
if I had to fight a bunch of them, it would be. But he doesn't want me to fight. That's the problem. He's worried I'm going to get hurt. So I'm kind of not telling him. I would, Yeah,
people are so unreasonable.
Yes, I don't understand it. It's just a simple hobby, and no one understands the value of.
I also very often want to fight, and people are against it. I so get you.
And they're saying, and this other one says, listen, the city wants to kick us out, and they have for a long time. They said that all we're a bunch of people is only people who know how to fight and hurt people. Now the city needs help, and they come to us.
Yes.
And he spits on the ground. I don't need to hear anything from the damn city. And a couple of the gladiators
Regina takes out her book on strategy. But look, if you do that, you have leverage against the city. Like, you did them a favor, Now they need to respect you and do you a favor.
Leverage. Is that like a
Yes.
nightmare? Do you fight
No,
leverage?
it's like exchanging.
I think I had an illness called leverage once. I felt bad for at least a week. Oh yeah, you don't want leverage. That's nasty. That is.
It's like exchanging a favor for a favor, but with the city. You do the city a favor, and the city has to shut up.
You can see all of them, and they're all sweat streaked and everything, and you can see all of them are like rapidly attempting to do mental math to catch up, right? And they're like processing.
I'm pretty sure Regina feels like this is a very normal and reasonable conversation, and these people are all very offering very reasonable thoughts about everything. Questions she would also have. So yes,
this is basically like you convincing a biker bar of like why they should go and help the police or something, like, right? They're just like so they're like thinking about it, and they
Regina has also all the doubts about helping the guards, so she's like she's on level with this. She's fine with this conversation happening. This is good.
Okay, so I would like you now to make, let's see. This feels like Nope. God bless America. Hold on a second. I don't have a big enough desk. I do, but I have too much stuff on it right now. Okay. Here, you stay here and you go over here. Too many books open. This feels like a persuasion test to me, but I'm thinking that it also, though, but it could also be there could be a bargaining component to this. So let me see. Bargain is possible. Well, all right. Here's what I'll take. I think you're looking here at persuasion. I don't think it's reasonable to intimidate because you haven't set it up like, do this or I'll kick your ass. Like, you don't seem like you've set it up this way.
Even Regina was like, do I want to intimidate a whole group of
I'll crush all of you. Okay. So I'm thinking either...
They would have said, let's do it.
All right, let's go. So I'm thinking it's either bargain, persuasion, or maybe... deception if you're trying to deceive them into doing something, but it sounds like you're not. I don't know if you're trying to do that or not.
No.
So bargain or persuasion is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, I have none of the things that were mentioned, so this is it doesn't make a difference.
This would be something like, let's see.
I have psychological intimidation, but I don't think that's what I'm doing here. So
No.
this doesn't...
Persuasion would be something like insight. Well, you could, or survival. I don't think that works.
Okay, maybe this.
Resolve?
Like this is not Regina. Like this is not Regina's forte. So let's just face this. This is what happens. She did her very best here.
Okay. Let's have you make a
3d6.
test and let's see what we get.
Yeah. I'm very sorry. I'm out of light fate completely. So
Yes, I wonder why that happened.
Yeah, I've no clue. Something happened before, and this was the fault of an annoying sprite. That is exactly how I imagine this. This actually represents what I feel like was happening.
It was about a 10.
That's a 10. It doesn't. I think like on the persuasion and explanation stage, that was a 10 compared to other people.
Yeah. It was like that was a good relative score. So the lead one sort of says, all right, look.
Yeah.
Then he sort of is like, we're gladiators, right? And the other's like, yes. And he says, and you say, he points to you, Regina, you're saying the city needs help from us.
Yes.
Is the city going to, and he kind of like exaggeratedly winks, pay us? And the other was like, oh, they like nudge each other and like punch each other in the shoulder.
That is such a good idea. I should have asked about that.
All right.
That is such a good idea. You know what? We should all go to Commander Arclight, and you should tell them that you're willing to help if they pay you. Regina is like being her smartest self right now.
And so he kind of like nods slowly. He's like, are you sure that Arclight wanted you to come with us and authorize the city to pay us?
No. You have to come with me, and I also would like to get paid, and we all go to Arclight and ask about it. I think getting paid is like a really, really good idea. I'm very in favor of that. I think that is like a much better idea than the ones I had. So let's go.
He nods slowly and he's like, all right, let's do this. Come on, you can catch up later on. And one guy in the back is kind of like, I was going to do more work in the training dummy. It's like, whatever, you are a training dummy. Come on, follow us. We can get a better paycheck this way.
And the announcer should also come because I feel like he has the voice.
And the announcer, so the announcer is kind of like, let's get ready to bolster defenses. Like he's sort of right there. And the minute he does that, of course, all the guys, oh yeah, and they're all like sort of, chest bumping and all this stuff and high fiving. Yeah. And so you head off with your pool of gladiators to go talk to Arknight. As you are on your way to do that, let's jump down to Reginald for his first thing that he's going to do.
I'm
Reginald,
still reeling from the Uno Reverso that happened with the gladiators. It's like, did they just recruit Regina instead? It's like they did.
Yeah, I mean, they sort of are like, look, does this mean, so they're sort of like, Regina told us that we can get a lot of money, so we're just all going to go and get money.
And then Regina's going, oh, wait, I can get paid for this. I'm with you.
Yep, Regina is one of the gladiators. Yay. Okay. Reginald.
I still feel like this is we did a really good representation of Regina's thinking and persuasion skills here.
Yes.
It was an excellent Regina negotiation.
Totally in line with what you would expect from Regina. Okay, Reginald. First up for you was the healing thing, right? Was figuring out about the healing. So, you head over then to presumably the temple, and when you arrive, you actually see someone familiar, and it's actually the one that you had spoken to when there was that unfortunate incident with the dolls, with the wooden coin, with the all that stuff, and of course, afterwards there was a situation with Boots. So you see the head of the temple themselves are out on the front steps. And there are many people that are gathered sort of arguing with some of the acolytes of the temple that are sort of lower down. And then higher up on the stairs, you can see a bunch of other people that are arguing. And the people higher up in the stairs appear to be, from their clothing and outfits, to be all of the sort of healer types. The one on the lower area of the stairs look to be like city residents, if you had to guess, Reginald, that are like arguing with temple acolytes about something, but you can't quite hear it. So that's what you see as you kind of head up to the stairs.
Okay. Probably he's just gonna walk towards the nearest people, which is probably those people arguing. At the
lower level, the lower stairs. Okay.
That'd be like the first thing that catches attention, probably, because he'd be coming in going,
right,
looking for someone.
And when you come up to them, you hear them saying, look, it's almost nightfall. Now, we know that there's dungeons below the temple, and a bunch of them like, yeah. We're the ones who help pay taxes. We've always been good to the priests here. There's no reason that you shouldn't protect us. Yeah, that's right. And another one yells, well, we just run our way through the doors. We can protect ourselves all night from whatever's going to come next. You know that there's going to be something. You can't just let us out here exposed. And you can see there's a good couple hundred people, probably, Reginald, gathered down below, and the mood is definitely ugly. The acolytes are sort of like, the temple is not large enough to accommodate everyone, and also there are special religious rites. Out of blazes with your religious rites. May the wizard burn them to ashes. We need to get inside there and protect ourselves. My child's in danger. Yeah, me too. So there's like a definite, like, the pushing forward, the pushing back type of thing.
Crowds. No, just my strong point. I guess I'll look for someone who's maybe a little more available to talk to rather than controlling the crowd at the moment.
Okay. Well, there is the head of the temple is talking higher up the stairs to the other groups of what look like healers and like other priests, but is obviously looking occasionally down at the bottom of the stairs as well. Hey, Takanja.
So I'll be probably at the bottom of the steps going, please, can I swear? We've spoken before. He knows who I am.
And at first they're like, what? We don't have to. And then he sees you as, oh, yeah, allow him up. Please, Reginald, allow him up. And the acolytes kind of push forward, and that creates other stuff because people are like, hey, what are you letting a ghoul through? Is that what matters now? Oh, that's all you care about. You just let a ghoul through. Oh, all he does is manage the graveyard, and now you're going to let him into the temple. Oh, he's already lived his life. And you hear some people yelling back at him, and there are also, in fairness, Reginald, a couple of people who also were like, oh, he's a good bloke. Like, you do hear a few people speaking in your favor as well, but the general tenor is a very frightened populace right now, is what you see. So as you walk up the stairs, the head of the temple sort of bows respectfully and says, I'm afraid, Reginald, you've caught us at a rather difficult time.
It seems so. Uncertain times are making people scared. And I wish I could bear good news. I look to see if we're discreet. Like, if I lower my voice, is there anyone who'll overhear?
There are the healers nearby, but if you you could say, like, may I talk to you alone, like, and take a few steps away, you could do that if you wish.
Yeah, it's like, can I just have a word with you a second?
And he goes over and says, excuse me just a moment, brothers. And you could see that they also look very unhappy, but they're not obviously going to like revolt, but they also seem upset about something. And he comes over and he says, yes.
Think we're dealing with another talisman.
And he kind of sighs. He's like, I had been afraid that might be the case. Something seemed strange about the attacks last night. Well, how do you know? What has given you that knowledge?
We've spent the day investigating. The talisman was passed around under the guise of the festival, making it easy to slip in to upset the balance. And now we've tracked down a sprite that was responsible. Pixie, I can never tell the two apart. Don't tell my druid trainers.
And he says, so you know who is responsible for this, and you know the talisman exists?
We do. It was confirmed by the culprits now, and I lower my voice here. There's probably going to be another incident tonight. We don't know what. It's going to be spawned from the nightmares of whoever is currently possessing the talisman.
And you can see, kind of, as he processes that, nightmares. Well, the people down below will create enough of their nightmares. I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to keep them out. We don't have room in the temple to be able to hold all of them. And if we let them all in, then we're not going to be able to take care of them, protect them, or ourselves. We can't do this. And he kind of like sighs and he says, and I had suspected that something might happen. I summoned the priests and other healers of the city here, but they are none too happy either. They don't know exactly where they are to be assigned. They don't know that they can keep up with whatever healing is being done. And some of them, are just as frightened as the people lower on the steps. Unless we can figure out a way to calm this mob and convince the healers that we'll be able to coordinate with them. He kind of shakes his head and sort of trails off.
Perhaps a compromise could be reached with the crowd. Perhaps offer to keep children safe. Maybe mothers. Ask for volunteers from the men. I came to volunteer my own services as a healer to help you prepare.
And the head of the temple nods slowly and he says, why don't you talk to them first, the healers I mean, and then perhaps you and I together, unified front and all. So he kind of leads you over and he says, brothers and sisters actually, he says, brothers and sisters, he says, you should know Reginald Shun. He is responsible for having saved the city one time already, he and his companions, from the gargoyle attacks. And he has things that he has done for the temple in the past. And a couple of them nod, and he says he will explain how the coordination of the healing can work. If you don't believe me, you ought to be able to believe him. And he kind of nods at you and steps back.
Okay. Tell me your concerns.
And the healers say, we were overwhelmed. One of them says, we were overwhelmed already last night with the gargoyle attacks. Some of our infirmaries are still full, And even those who we've been able to release are terrified. They have come back saying that they're missing children and that they don't know whether they'll be able to find them. And then there were others, lootings and attacks. We're not equipped to deal with this, not across the city, not all at once. How are we supposed to coordinate? And one of the other healers says, it would make much more sense if we simply all either gathered together in this temple or retreated and evacuated the city. At least that way, whatever's happening here isn't going to get all these people at once. They're just sitting targets here. And another one says, and besides that, we're already exhausted. How are we supposed to keep up with all the influx of the dead and wounded? And, you hear a bunch of them healers, like, nodding. And meanwhile, the yelling down at the bottom of the stairs has gotten louder.
Have you explained this situation to the civilians? Maybe if they understood that you cannot take them all, but if they were able to assist with volunteers, you could perhaps keep some of them safe.
And one of the
children.
One of the healers turns around and points to the crowd, which is like, rah, 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 and he's like, you want to convince them? And kind of points down at the mob of people.
No, I don't.
One of the healers says, the reality is that if we can't get them under control, we won't be able to coordinate ourselves. And even if we get them under control, how can we all coordinate together?
We need everyone to understand that we need to work together to minimize the casualties this night. We don't know what's going to happen or what form it's going to take, just that it is going to happen.
I am going to do two things for you here. Two tests. The first test is going to be for the healers. This is actually, I think, going to be a heal test, I'm thinking. Because one of the things that you're trying to do is to convince them that you are going to have the kind of competence to be able to do this, like your knowledge of how to coordinate with wounds and all that stuff. So, do you have heal?
I do.
Okay. Do you happen to have a focus in... First aid would actually be really good here, but...
It would, but I've only got disease focus.
You know what? I'll give you disease, because disease is actually part of the concern, is whether they can deal with something which spreads among the populace, like panic. So I'll allow that. So let's say that you have a focus in this. So we're looking at... Do you have the skill? Yes. Do you have a focus? Yes. Yep. We're using the handy-dandy Pyron Jade Talisman RPG skill check sheet. And so it's 3d6 plus aspect, which would be insight here, I think, plus 2.
Okay. Oh, plus 5. Oh, is that what? No, it was not. That wasn't what. It was 1 out of 6. Okay, well, neither in a place that matters, so.
So we ended up with a
17.
17.
No doubles.
So you sort of explain this to them, and finally one of the healers says, well... I didn't sign up to do this because it was going to be easy. I signed up to help people. Doesn't matter how tired I am. If the dead can find a way to keep on, then the living ought to be able to do the same. And a couple of others sort of nod, and a few others, like some of them grumble and look unhappy, but they all sort of quiet down. And the head of the temple says, very well then, we'll coordinate through here and with Reginald, and if we do so, we'll be able to keep this city going. That is your charge. And the healers all sort of nod. And now, down below, the rah, 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 I'm telling you, rah, rah, and you can see the acolytes are sort of very much in danger of getting knocked over.
Can I use my animal handling of the crowd? Since they're acting like animals. It
depends. Are you going to
turn yourself into a kangaroo and do animal handling on yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I should have done.
Never mind. Just look at this. Boing, boing. I'm sure a ghoul kangaroo is far more convincing. Okay. Right. So, but the mood has gotten extremely ugly down there, Reginald. So if you're going to do anything, it has to be now. This check, I think, would very much be a persuasion check. Or maybe bargaining. I could see either one of those two. But either way, or I guess intimidate, actually. I mean, you have to decide what you want to do to try to calm down this mob.
I think you overestimate the social skills of this ghoul gravekeeper.
No, I'm just giving options. I'm aware there are limitations.
I got nothing. It's just, oh god. Survival.
Isn't that what Regina also said? No. Reflects your ability to survive in the wilderness. That does not correspond to convincing an angry mob not to invade a temple.
Do the crowd smell like I can convince them in any way?
Is the crowd a wilderness? No.
No.
Crowd is not a wilderness.
Is the crowd my favorite terrain?
No, it's not. And they're not someone you can psychic blast. I mean, I guess you could psychic blast them, but what'd you do? We just killed them all, and then they stopped being a mob.
I got angry at them. My head got hot. Fire, hot.
You brought this on yourself.
I'm dragging this out.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So
Double 2.
that would be a 5. Yeah. They say, we can't possibly. This ghoul doesn't care. He's one of them. He's one of them. You understand? And they kind of, and then there is the sound of this, like a piece of wood hitting a piece of wood, and you see one of the acolytes fall to the ground, and above him is a man holding a club. And for a minute, there's just silence, and then there's this sort of, yeah, and you see a couple of others sort of like, swings starting to happen down the line, and the head of the temple sort of looks at you and is like, all right, we're going to have to bring them inside, close the gates of the temple. Perhaps you can talk to someone in the city, see if you can calm these ones down, but I can't afford to have all of my acolytes hurt or killed by these people.
This is why I like to bring Lump with me.
Um,
He has a very calming presence.
He says, nonetheless, I'm grateful to what you've done with the healers. Maybe that will be of some value as well. And he kind of like steps back up the stairs. The acolytes also step up the stairs. And then the head of the temple, looking rather sad actually, sort of waves his hand, and this glowing white sheet, it almost looks like, appears between the mob and the acolytes. It also sort of circles around you. And he says, my people are going to get into the temple doors. You can, if you wish, push through the crowd and get somewhere else if you need to, or you can be back with us. Either way, I hope sometime this evening you'll be part of the healing effort.
I have other things to attend to before. I'm going to have to try and push through them, I guess.
Yeah, so he says, you should be able to do so, but I would not linger. And indeed, as you push through, it's like they kind of scrabble at you, but they can't touch you. So you get a lot of shouts and yells, and I always told you never trust ghouls, and all this sort of stuff as you go through. Meanwhile, most of them, though, are paying not much attention to you. They're paying more attention to the acolytes, who fall back behind the white sheet, and the great doors of the temple kind of close, and then the mob is just pounding on the doors and shouting and screaming as you make your way off into the city. So kind of a partial success there, Reginald. We'll see what the impact of that is a little bit later on. All right, let's talk about Lump, Bruce. Lump was first going to deal with the trolls, right? So I'm not going to make you role play this, because even though you do a great job with it, I want to give you time to role play your own character. I will say that when Lump arrives, that the trolls themselves are still, a little bit sore about the way they were treated, you may remember, before all this stuff went down. But you do have one thing working in your favor, and that is that Aerodin Frampton, who you may remember as the musician troll that wanted to hang out with Weddle and all that kind of good stuff, that Aerodin has been able to talk to the trolls since then, and that may actually help. So I'm going to ask Lump to do here. Lump has several options as well. Persuasion, again, is possible. Bargain is possible. Intimidate might be possible, but you got to be careful, because if Intimidate fails, the trolls are going to be like, they might be actively problematic during whatever is to come. Whereas if one of the other fails, they will just be like, well, I'm not going to do it. But then they won't like actively get in the way. So it's kind of like you probably I'm guessing that Lump is going to have a better chance to intimidate than one of the others, but the failure ceiling is higher. Like if he fails, it's going to be worse. So there's that. I will say, though, that I will give Lump, because of the work of Eridan, an additional +3. So whatever he chooses, whether it's persuade or intimidate, or I don't know, if you think he would deceive or something, I mean, I'll take any of those. So you tell me as to what you think Lump would do.
I think that he wants to come from a place of goodwill and stuff. I think he will try to persuade them that this is a really good way to get back, to prove themselves to the guards, and maybe even get an apology from the guards later on for the treatment, you know, because they helped out and stepped up when the city needed them, to show that they're valuable members of the community, not to be looked down on.
Okay.
Sort of that sort of area. I'm gonna assume he doesn't have the persuasion skill.
Yeah, I would think it unlikely. Which means it would be 3d6, but he will get +3 because of this Eridan's influence. So that's a 15. The trolls are very, like, you know, kind of like murmuring and kind of like shaking their heads. And then Eridan says, you know the thing that I learned? I learned that there's a difference between people who actually try and make an effort and people who just say they will. All of you walking around, big, strong muscles, you can do everything you want. But when the time actually comes to help, is it going to make a difference? No. Why? Because you hate the people in this city? Or because you're too afraid yourselves? And you can see they're all like kind of murmuring to each other. And he says, well, I've been with these people. I watched them go around and do what they needed to do. These people weren't like the city guard. They actually cared about the trolls. And this is a troll. And he's going to fight. You're going to let him do it on his own?
Yes, I am a troll.
And they're like, that's really compelling. He is a troll. And they all sort of nod at each other. And finally one says, all right, Eridan, so what happens if they try to then mess around with us afterwards? What happens if they take things away even when they promised they wouldn't? And Eridan says, well, then I'll punch them in the face myself. And they all trolls kind of stare at him and, all right, we'll help fight for the city, but there better be a reward at the end of this. And Eridan kind of nods. And he turns to Lump and kind of says, okay, I'll handle the rest. Just make sure that you tell the guards to be nice to the trolls. Okay.
Okay. And Lump will go immediately to tell the guards to be nice to the trolls.
Sounds good. While Lump is doing that, Hweddle, we come to you. The first thing you were doing, sorry, remind me, we're juggling a bunch of things in my mind.
I wanted to go to the university to talk to the scholars.
Oh, yes, that's right. To talk to the dwarven scholars. Yes, indeed.
Hopefully my roommate's not there.
At the moment, actually, the roommate is not there, no. When you come to, and I believe you've actually spoken before, right? To one of them?
Yeah, can't remember who it was, but we definitely spoke.
Yeah, I thought so. Let me find it because City of Villadoc, I know about that. No, it wasn't Tankersley. It wasn't that. Oh, yes. Okay. No, it wasn't Professor Tom. Okay. Yes, I remember. Okay. So the person that you, most of them are not there, but there is one person that you see, Hweddle, who you are familiar with, and this is Old Dewey. So Old Dewey is an ancient librarian, like, jokingly said to be as old as the academy itself. Although no one actually in the city can remember ever having another librarian, so it's possible. This is one of those people that everyone has known forever. And Old Dewey is an experience, I think it's fair to say. And when you arrive, a lot of the rest of the scholars are busy, like basically battening down the hatches, more or less, like hammering boards up on windows and like, getting things ready. And when you go inside, you can see the only one who's not occupied doing any of those things, who's kind of staring up at the this one bookshelf of books, huge, tall bookshelf of books, is old Dewey. And he is kind of staring up as you look up at him, and you can see that his liver-spotted hands are sort of trembling slightly. Hey, Helness.
Hey there, old Dewey. Do you need me to get a book down for you?
It's Tuesday, right? Tuesday. No.
Close enough.
I'm trying to decide how to protect these books. They sent me in here and they said, you can do this. Go and protect the books. How am I supposed to protect all of this, Mundle? How is that going to happen? I can't possibly save all these books. What is all this nonsense? No one's going to come in here and wreck all of these books, are they?
Well, it depends on who's having what nightmares tonight, mates. I want to quickly check, is he wearing a necklace?
He has no. He is not. He is wearing sort of these sky blue robes, and he does have a symbol around his neck, but it's a symbol of a sort of flame and a chalice, which is kind of the Academy, logo, kind of the Academy brand, and it symbolizes the knowledge. As far as you've ever remembered, he's always worn the same kind of thing. It's definitely not a talisman.
Right. But he's somebody who would know about talismans and...
If you can access his brain.
Yeah. Look, Dewey, we got a situation. The best way to protect these books is to find the talisman that is putting the city in danger. It's a wooden necklace talisman that makes people's nightmares come to life.
Oh, that sounds absolutely Did you say wooden necklace? That's fascinating, actually. The talismans are made of all different materials, but wooden talismans, well, and you can see he kind of walks over unsteadily to the bottom shelf, and he takes a look at it, and he sort of says, well, that's not quite right. And then very suddenly, now you've seen him do this before, so you may not be surprised, when he snaps his fingers and shoots up to the top shelf as if he's just sort of like, oh, let me look over there. And it's way up there, right? And he's kind of like from, a little bit of a distance. All right, but there's Warland, Wild, Wooden. Yeah, Wooden. All right, it should be right here. Whoa! And then he pulls a huge book and kind of sort of leans back and forth and then drops it. I'm going to need you to make an acrobatics test for me, Hweddle, as this book comes
Hweddle,
hurtling down towards your head.
Acrobat. Excellent. So that's just a 3d6.
Aren't you going to ask me about survival? Is it a wilderness?
I don't have survival.
Okay, good.
Fine.
Yeah. No. I was just waiting for someone to be like, what about this?
Can I play a song to slow its descent through?
No, but you
logic?
can epically try to dodge out of the way while you're singing something, if you wish.
It's probably more like a guttural scream. He invents screamo music.
Yeah.
Death metal.
So we're talking a 12. Yes, you are actually able to dodge out of the way, and the book impacts the ground with a, and this big cloud of dust goes up from the floor, and the book, and he says, I'm sorry. Oh, actually, he's still up there. I'm sorry about that. I apologize. And he comes down. Does the library technically count as a forest? No, Quadrillion. God damn it. It's not survival. Okay. I can't wait till there's a survival moment and it's like Hweddle. And so, and Sweddle's like, can I use performance, persuasion? Anyway. So the thing is there, and there's this big cloud of dust, and you can see him quickly dropping to the floor as old Dewey, and he says, yes, well, somewhere in there is the model of, and he kind of reaches down and grabs the book, and he's like, Hut. He seems to be having some difficulty, Hweddle.
I'll help him out.
Okay, and you together pull it up. It is a heavy book. And he starts leafing through it. All right, well, Wayne, Winnebago, Wonder Woman, and he's like all these weird references that you don't get. And then he eventually gets to wood and wooden. And he says, yes. Well, that's fascinating. I don't really know whether, and he kind of like sorts through like a couple more pages, and then and with one trembling finger, he kind of points out there, and he says, well, that's interesting. You know the one who's said to use these talismans, don't you? And he kind of looks at you, Weddle.
The Wraith Lord.
And he points right next to it. Now it's on the facing page. So you're like, well, maybe it's just because Wraith comes after wood, but you don't think that's it. You can see this dark, shadowy figure on the page, illustrated on the page. And he says, and Dewey says, as you're listening to him, they say that the Wraith Lord was himself a friend and then a rival of the great wizard, and he made items in mockery of him. His is death. He wishes only that for all the living residents of the city. Are you ready for that, Weddle? And it occurs to you from all of a sudden that the waver in his voice has stopped. The finger wavering has stopped. And for a moment, as you look up at him, you can see his eyes glittering in the dim light. And he says, you need to be ready. The Wraith Lord is not a small figure to be trifled with. He will not come himself. He will send creatures to find you. Will you be ready when the darkness comes?
Weddle's desire to skip town is doubling every second. Can you help me be ready? We need to find this talisman and stop the attacks on the city.
And he says, he kind of rubs his chin, and he says, well, and now he's back a little bit to the wavering voice again. It's not easy to find something the Wraith Lord uses, but if it's been given to the people of the city, and he points to the description, and he reads, the talisman has deleterious effects on all within its presence, but it is particularly effective against those for whom nightmares are the strongest. And he looks up at you again. Children, find the child this talisman was given to. Eventually it would make its way to one. Find the child, and you can stop this nightmare. And then he goes, but first I have to figure out how to preserve all these things. And he's kind of staggering off again in the way of the bookcase.
Has he taken the book with him?
He's trying to, but not with much success. So you could probably just like take the book if you wish. You could just tell him that you're doing that, although it is quite heavy. So, but it has, you could also like take the time to make a quick copy of like the relevant sections if you wanted, Weddle. You could do that.
Yeah, I've got sheets of paper and pen and ink.
So we're going to talk about that as basically sort of shoring up. Well, you can decide for yourself what that does or doesn't mean. So I'll just kind of keep that where it is in your mind. But Wooden Talisman, a Wraith Lord, and the effect on children are things that you get from Old Dewey.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. And I'm going to come back to you. Regina, number 2. What was the second thing? By the way, just to finish up with your first thing, Regina. Cadian gave you the what when the gladiators arrived and were like, Regina told us that you'd be willing to pay us 10 gold apiece. And like Cadian is like staring at you like, you know, sort of and you're like shaking your head behind him. And there's a big back and forth. Eventually, the gladiators, grumbling quite a bit about this, end up agreeing to be paid 5 gold a head, and there are 20 of these gladiators. For this. And as Arknight is sort of counting out the advance, which he very cleverly makes sure not to give them all of their money, but as he's counting out the advance, he kind of stares at you and he says, under his breath, "This better be money well spent, or the city's going to have my head."
Is there a commission for each gladiator I bring?
And he just goes, his eyes widen and he's silent.
I have learned when people stare at me like that, they mean no.
He does, however, give you part of the, he does say that you can get part of the money. He gives you a few gold, and then with another glare, asks you to, starts telling his guards to assign the gladiators.
Awesome.
As he's doing that, what was the second thing you were doing, Regina?
I wanted to find the find the entrance to the realm of the Wraith Lord, but first I've got to brag to my comrades about what I did, and that we can get money out of it.
Let me have you head over to gladiators. So you definitely are able to.
I want to tell Reginald and Huddle and Lump about it.
Okay, so we'll have you go over there. That'll be good then, because I'm going to move to Reginald next. As you're heading to find Reginald, you have managed to pass through the crowd, as I mentioned, and you were on your way to the second thing, which was, he said with a question mark?
I wanted to check on the horses for the guards for the supplies and things.
Okay.
Like supply carts, rider horses, anything that might be needed to use fast.
Regina, we'll have you catch up with them, with him at the end of this little sequence, which I'll zip through kind of quickly. The logistics of the city look to you, Reginald, to be they would normally be in decent shape, but there are 2 problems. Number one, the city is swelled with a group of people that normally wouldn't be here because you had all the farmers that came in from out of town and everybody like that for the Festival of Strangers. So a bunch of the stables are occupied by other horses, and many of those horses are not, most of them probably are not combat worthy or like able to see combat without freaking out, right? Like they're farm animals whose job it is to like carry their riders into a city and then be kept in a stable and leave again. And then of course the other problem is the attack that already happened. So there are some broken down portions that you can see of stable doors and things like that. The basic sense that you get of this is that it's going to be very difficult for people just going through the kind of standard, using the standard materials and all that stuff to do this. There is, however, Reginald, one place that does have material that can be used for the city's defenses that has not ever been used before. And that is your very own graveyard, which is a good-sized item, a good-sized place, I should say, region. People could be housed there if you want. You could have people gather material from there if you wish. That's something I don't want to force on you because that obviously is a significant thing that Reginald would have to consider. But you could use elements of that, including people staying in the graveyard. If you can convince, you also have to convince them to do this because they're going to be a little like, wait, you want us to go where?
Come into my graveyard.
Exactly. Should be totally safe.
And opening the graveyard did actually occur to me. So, not that. I don't think I'd be okay with them actually helping themselves to materials.
I had a feeling
but
not.
Certainly as a quiet, relatively secure place that wouldn't necessarily draw a lot of attention,
or a place through which people could pass goods and stuff, like a shortcut, more or less. Mm-hmm. Like they could do that if you wish.
And they'd let them put a hole in my back wall to facilitate that.
Mm-hmm. So if you're willing to do that, then what you have to do basically is sort of convince the people to do this, because a lot of them are like, wait, what? You want us to do this? Like, they are not the angry mob. So to be clear, they are not sort of like, you're just a ghoul. Like, you don't get any of that racism here. But what you do get is a lot of like very uncertain, nervous people talking about, wait, the graveyard isn't for living people, and what do you mean? And all that kind of thing. So I will let you pitch me, and no, not survival. I will let you pitch me, Reginald, on a skill that might apply to something like this. You know, persuasion is obvious, it seems to me, but you don't have to stick with that. If there's another thing you can think of that might work for something like this, I would be willing to consider it.
Have a look.
Hi, Prince Justin.
Not really. No, I really didn't focus on dealing with people at all when I put together Reginald.
Well, if it's based on, and I'm not leading you in any direction, but
Excuse me?
if it's also based on, you know, knowledge, like if you wanted to sort of convey stuff to them, I mean, I take that too. Like if you're like, let me tell you the history of the city or
yes. Yes, could I maybe use lore to explain how historically cities that have been attacked from within and without have had to
Yes, I would accept
create on the fly these new passageways to facilitate that?
that.
Yeah,
Wouldn't be the
okay.
first time you've used history to persuade people about something they need to do in the present.
All right.
So what are we looking at in terms of, lore? Do you have a...
It's going to be general because I've only got a focus in ancestry.
Okay.
Come on, baby.
Still 3d6 plus... Yep.
That's a 1. That's an 11.
Okay. So you aren't 100% sure if this worked, Reginald. They may do it, and there's some who seem like they're willing to, but there are others that are like, eh. So we know so far that the gladiators have been a success. We know so far that the trolls have been a success. And we know that Weddle's fact-finding mission has been a success. We don't yet know if the stuff you're talking about here is worked or not. So you're not sure. But right at the end of this little exchange, Regina comes flying up to you.
Hey, I brought the gladiators, and the gladiators are getting paid to help defend the city. So I'm also now getting paid. We should really keep that in mind. Like, we're doing all the stuff, and we need to get paid.
Maybe I should have offered the money to come in the graveyard.
You have lots of money?
No. I said
don't
offer.
Not give. I see.
How much money do you have?
The DM said a few gold coins. So I have a few gold coins. But the gladiators are getting 5 golds each.
The temple's going to struggle with healing. And there's an angry mob outside.
How do we already know that they are going to struggle with healing?
They said I spoke with them.
But we don't even know what's gonna happen.
We don't, but if healing needs happening in bulk. Unfortunately, I didn't have my pacification lump with me.
Yeah, it's always good to have a lump with you. But, why is the mob angry?
Scared, trying to hide in the temple, but there's
Why
not
are they
enough room.
scared?
Well, there was a gargoyle attack last night.
But it's not like they happen all the time. People are just, unreasonable.
Yeah, but I feel like it's like, if you've had one, there's a better chance of you having a second.
Yeah, that's also very true.
It's like when you get offered a free meal, but you ate 5 minutes ago. I think.
I'd like a free meal now. So, we should also see if Weddle got some money.
Yes.
Okay, let's go and find Weddle.
And money?
Yes. And
Maybe
then I'm
Lump's
gonna
rubbing off on me.
Then I'm gonna tell Weddle that I got money.
You should tell Lump.
Yes, I should.
Lump likes money.
Oh yes, Lump is very good at liking money. Yes.
So if you're headed off to find Lump, Lump's second thing that you're doing was shoring up the walls. And Weddle, I believe you were coming to help him with the walls also, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a good, right? So this is a good way to combine these things together, actually. I can see, again, will allow you to sort of pitch this. There are a bunch of places where the walls could be shored up. There are also places where some makeshift, like if you wanted to tell me we're going to try to build a makeshift archer tower, or, we're going to try to, I don't know, set some traps or, stuff like that, that could have an effect on this. So I will take a pitch from you, and you can do this as yourself, Weddle. We'll have Lump like sort of assist you. I could see a scenario where like artisan, might have something to do with this, or maybe tinker. I could see maybe, I don't know. I could maybe also see evaluation, although that's really generally for like assessing value, but one of those. Something like evaluate or what did I say? Or tinker or artisan, or if you have another way that you want to explain it that doesn't involve trying to convince me that this is a wilderness, then I would take that as a skill, and you'll get a bonus to it from Lump.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking the other way, because Weddle's got artisan, but his focus is in painting. So I was more imagining that Lump would be doing some hard labor assisted by Weddle.
So what I would say about that is you can use artisan actually, and then you would get 3d6 plus aspect, which would be something like, say, brawn. And so what we would say is that it would be 3d6, but we would add Lump's brawn, not your brawn. See what I mean?
Well, that's good, because his brawn is 7 more than my brawn.
Because you're basically like, do this, and he's like, and he goes and does it, right? Like that's what I would think would be the thing that makes sense.
Okay.
If you want.
No, yeah. I'm just trying to think. I hadn't expected. I was just gonna, fortify some walls, and now you're mentioning archery towers.
That's up to you too. I just threw that out there. I don't know, but
no, I think we are gonna. I always forget that happens. I'm gonna fortify some walls.
Okay.
Keep it simple. I mean, it's a service to the city, even if the walls aren't affected tonight.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense. So let's aim for then. So that would be 3d6 plus brawn is what we're looking at here.
His brawn was 7, wasn't it?
Yes.
Wow.
That is is that a 12? Is that what I'm looking for? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
I see. Okay. So no, okay, that doesn't right. Okay. So the walls get a little bit of a boost, and you get some other things that may help a little, but most of this seems to be, I mean, even with Lump's sort of like, strength kind of underpinning this, there's a lot to do. And you worry that the focus that's being put in anyway is maybe on the external threat that you're worried about is not coming from the external anyway, as you all talked about, previously. You're not sure whether this worked or not, Weddle. But what it does for everybody, as Regina and Reginald kind of appear here towards the end of this, is, and I would like you folks to make a note of this, if you can, please. As a combination of all your successes, you will have a grand total of 3 bonus dice. Now, I will, during the course of what may or may not happen in the next session, I'll describe what happens during that stuff that will also maybe be impacted by what you did. But additionally, you'll have a pool, the group of you, of 3 bonus dice, which you will be able to use. You could use all 3 of them on one attack. You could spread them out, but they're 3 total in a group pool. So you have to decide how all of you as a group, the 4 of you, when Mike gets back, how all 4 of you are going to want to distribute these bonus dice. And you can use them at any time. You can also use them after a roll has happened. So after a roll has occurred, you can actually use the bonus die at that point on top of, like before I tell you whether it succeeds or doesn't. But if you're like, I don't think this is going to succeed, let me add something onto that, you can then choose to roll another bonus die up to the 3 that you have. Once they're used up, they're used up. Okay.
Okay.
So Regina and Reginald, you folks show up. It is closing in on midnight now by the time this is all done.
Hey, Waddle, hey, Lamp. We could get paid.
Good.
I got paid a little bit, and the gladiators are getting paid 5 golds each.
Lump perks up. Am I getting paid 5 gold?
I think we should totally ask.
I have moved many rocks.
See? And I feel like that's worth a lot.
5.
I haven't moved a single rock today, and I already got some gold.
6 then.
See? There we go. You're like a really good negotiator.
Hweddle would like to offer up the information now that we're all here together. All right. I went to talk to the scholar, the librarian. He showed me a book and he pulls out the papers. These aren't from the book. I took copies. I don't rip pages out of books. Or fold down the corners, blinking heck. I hate when people do that. You're there flipping through a book and somebody's folded down the corner. It's like crumbs inside. Like, no respect. Anyway, it showed it was a book about talismans, and it said wooden talismans are linked to the Wraith. And he was like friends with the great wizard, who I still dispute never existed, but we'll just go along with it for now. Was friends with the great wizard, and then enemies with the great wizard, dwarves. And so he's an enemy of the creators of the talisman, so he's definitely an enemy of dwarves. And he controls the power of the wooden talismans. And what I found out was that the talisman causes more effects if the person is more susceptible to nightmares. And the librarian specifically looked at me with a little twinkle in his eye, which was kind of weird, actually. He said it's especially strong for children. And if the Wraith is going to up the stakes and create more danger, a child will be wearing the talisman. So I don't know how much that reduces the possible population count of people, who could be wearing the talisman, but probably a lot. There can't be that many kids, right?
Maybe he likes you.
The librarian?
Because of the twinkle in his eye.
Oh, do you reckon? Nah,
Yeah.
I only interested in Unger.
You know
Do you reckon
what?
he likes me?
I don't know. Did he have a twinkle in his eye?
I don't think so.
But
well, anyway,
we have met
there's
a
a
kid
kid.
before.
Yeah, but he didn't have the necklace anymore. He gave it to somebody else.
He said he gave it to the sailor, didn't he?
No. No, the kid was called Logan, and he got
Yes.
it from Noah, the troll who sells armors, weapons, and then he gave it to Mirak, the ghoul who runs a music shop, who gave it to Elena, the dancer, who gave it to Emil, the dung sweeper, who gave it to Ebba, the stonemason, who gave it to the gladiator Leonor, who gave it to the dark-haired guard whose name I've forgotten, and then they gave it to Nogus. It's really
You could have
easy to
made
keep track.
all that up, and I would have believed you.
That's 100% right, by the way. I was just like, yep,
Nice.
yep, and yep. That's legit right there.
Okay, but I mean, it's like there were like more kids. I don't know. I feel like we've already found kids, so maybe we could use them again. So
Right.
I think it's already midnight, so
did
possibly something is about to strike.
and kids should be in bed right now, shouldn't they? But did they tell you how to find the Wraith Lord? And how else did he become a lord like on the way, because you just said Wraith before?
Oh yeah, I mean he just calls himself a lord, doesn't he?
You can do that.
Yeah, you could be a lord
What?
if you like.
I am now. So, but
Oh.
did they say like how to find the Wraith Lord?
Lord of Souls.
No, I look
Okay.
at my page that I copied that was, the 2-page spread which had the wraith on the other side. Is it just a picture?
It is, yeah.
No, but look, here's a picture.
As Weddle holds up the picture, you hear outside from where you're standing, or I guess you might be outside talking to the guards, but you hear behind you a terrifying shriek followed by a cackle. And as you turn around, you find these strange figures running through the streets. They are taller than humans, so skinny they appear unhealthy. They are wearing outfits in motley mixes of colors, brightly patterned coats, tight leggings suitable for dancing, pointed shoes, and 3 pointed hats filled with jingling bells.
Yeah.
They each carry a scepter that is topped with a small skull, each wearing a miniature jester's hat. And as you get a better look, you can make out that each jester has pale white skin, glowing red eyes, and short, sharp, fanged teeth that flash in the evening torchlight as they cackle maniacally. And that's where we're going to bring our session to a close.
What do they smell of?
I'm gonna nope. You're gonna do next session without me.
I was just thinking.
I don't know if you can see that, the jester
it figures
there.
it'd be something like this. Oh dear.
Gargoyles Night 1, Jesters Night 2.
No, this is good. Next time
Good.
we're gonna kill a lot of jesters.
Right, and you've always
Public
really wanted to
service.
do that. Always wanted to do that one way or the other. Is it Jared Leto? No, I don't actually think so.
Maybe they drop flaming axes,
Yeah, that's a good point. They may do something like that. This was
It's not murder if it's jesters.
Yeah.
it's totally different. This was
It's
a
not murder
ton
if I
of
do it.
fun, y'all watching you go through this investigation stuff. And I loved the ideas of first the chase, then the decision about what to do, the bolstering of the defenses. And each one of them was cool in its own way. I loved the stuff with Old Dewey and Hweddle. I loved as well Reginald trying to deal with the healers and the freaking mob back there. Regina was cracking me up, Pyron, with the gladiators. Like, yeah, maybe we could get paid. It was great, and you have done some things to help the city's defenses. We'll see how well those will hold in this second night. And of course, you've also gathered information about this thing with the Wraith Lord, but also maybe a child that will lead them and all this stuff. We shall see. Oh man, it was so much fun. I cannot wait to see what happens next. I will start with bottom of the column. Wonderful stuff as always, Bruce. I love the stuff with Dewey. You seem to be sort of fated to encounter people that either end up drunk and sitting in your house while you leave your roommate to deal with them, or you are dealing with very old librarians who occasionally have flashes of insight where you're like, what? Giving you information. And I was a big fan of both of those. I mean, also not to be noted, chat, I mean, will Unger survive the night? I mean, that's really key. Like, is Unger going to make it? Because like, listen, I mean, that would be a whole big blow to Hweddle of a whole other kind.
Don't you do that to me. Don't you do that to me.
I'm just raising stakes. No.
I am seeing you in...
I will sue you for psychic damage. How did you feel about today's session, Bruce, and where will the fine folks find you next?
No, that was really fun. I need to resetting accent. Yeah, that was really fun. I really liked the librarian, Old Dewey, these sort of characters. I really liked as well just the image of the whoop up and then the book and then what, it's too heavy and slams down. it was really fun how we all sort of ended up having to use the talents that we're not very good at. So I
know.
had to do acrobatics checks. And,
It's like, how about survival? I'm like, not survival. Goddamn.
yeah. And I'll paint the walls to make them look pretty. But yeah, no, it's loads of fun. So thank you, and I'm looking forward to next session. And you will find me next in the next Talisman Adventures session, I suppose, or usually in the comments of Peripheral Mike's streams, because I have to watch it because I'm trying to get enough channel points to make him play a game of League of Legends.
Wow. Okay. Are you almost there to get him to that
No.
point? No. Okay.
He hasn't even added it as a reward yet. But I'm sure
Can
one
we
day he
support
will.
you? Can we support you in any way?
I don't know, maybe we'll be able to all watch his streams all the time and slowly combine our resources and have like 500,000 bits or points or whatever they're called.
Jungle,
And
top
then-
lane, bottom lane. That's what I know of League of Legends.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly that. We can then tell him to go top lane or bot lane or whatever we like. It's my life goal.
That's hey, listen, that's a good goal to set. But very good stuff today, Bruce. I really enjoyed that, and I'm glad everything is going well with dogs and everything else as well. We will see you back here next month. You will see Peripheral Mike back with us. I should say Wholesome Horror Gaming now, I guess, back with us next month, hopefully for Talisman Adventures and Ghosts of Saltmarsh. We're just working that out right now with schedule, but you'll definitely see us back for more Talisman Adventures next month as we move to the end of Act 2 and heading into the final act of the final adventure of the Talisman campaign. So definitely follow Mike over at Wholesome Horror Gaming on Twitch, where he will do cozy horror. It's a niche that's all his own. And we will see Mike back here soon. Saber, great stuff tonight out of Reginald as well. Obviously, we had more Ghoul Karoo or Ghoul Garoo with this. I love the kangaroo effect of things. The chase was great. But also, I was really interested to see how Reginald was going to try to handle stuff with the healers. The healers you were able to, on some level, convince. The mob was difficult to deal with, and that's a whole other scenario about like what happens with the mob, and people who are afraid are not at their best. And so you saw kind of examples of that that was happening here, and that was interesting to me because you've had dealings with the temple on multiple occasions here. So that kind of came back full circle a little bit here. How'd you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
That was a lot of fun. That chase was something else. That was something a bit different from what I've experienced before in previous sessions here and in D&D games.
You almost lost her too. Like it was literally like you almost lost her.
I was not rolling well for a lot of it, except for a couple of moments. And then the rest of it was, botch. Talk down to a mob. Oh, look, I botched. Great. I'm such a people person. Why am I here? Can I go back to my crypt?
You got that. You spoke the healer's language at least, so there was that.
That was that, yes. I will take that, and the entertaining chasers wins.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how the chase went, that was entertaining.
No, it was entertaining.
And, everyone playing into all the successes and fails for how they're screwing up and making up for it, and then slipping again.
It was pretty funny.
That was some fun stuff, yeah. Looking forward to the next time. And say we're getting close now, and of course now we get to kill jesters, so that's definitely something to look forward to next time.
Yeah, I liked your reaction by the way when I was in the middle of the description and you're like, oh god, like they're right about the middle. You're like, I know what this is.
Yeah, it's like that description. I was like, yeah.
I was trying to avoid saying the word jester for a while, and I'm just like, working around it. So,
but yeah, jesters. Nobody likes them. Nope. Let's kill a few.
Yep. Sounds good.
Just think of Ultima the whole time.
Yeah, I know. I'm on board, believe me.
As for me, though, I'll be back here tomorrow. I'm going to be carrying on with a bit more, I think, RoboCop, because that was a good time. And definitely still a bit more to see in that game that we didn't quite get to. So I want to follow up on it. And I'll be back on my channel on Thursday. Take care, everyone.
Good stuff, Saber. Good work tonight. And last but certainly not least, Pyron, thank you for sticking with us. I know you were tired already, and I hope you enjoy your rest tonight. Regina, obviously, I love the sequence with the gladiators. That was a ton of fun. And just the idea of you being like, as Saber said towards the end, like, so the gladiators recruited Regina. Like, at some point, you're like, yeah, we should all get paid. That was very funny. And also, the chase with Ainley, the fact that you had this sort of personal vendetta against this sprite because she's incredibly obnoxious, but also she's a sprite, and there's also those things. That is also kind of an issue. And you were so proud when you figured out, like, you were like, not only are the gladiators going to do this, but we also struck a blow for labor rights. Like we unionized and came together and like all that. That was really funny. And gave us some good moments. And Regina will be needed in this session, in this battle to come. How did you feel about tonight's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
Well, Regina had a pretty good day from her point of view, but she usually has. So the annoying sprite got captured. She helped by getting the gladiators to help.
Yep.
She's getting paid, and she became a lord. So it's like
Exactly.
win-win-win.
She made herself into a lord. That's right. Yeah. Like,
it's
I'm
like
just a lord now.
this is things seem to be working out, and also now they know what the nightmare is, and Regina does really, like it seems to be a human thing again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something. And also, I think there's going to be a very small group of children in this scenario that can be afraid of jesters, because you need to be exposed to jesters to fear them. So who has a jester at home? Not so many. We're gonna figure it out.
Just think about the modern version of how many people like clowns.
Yeah, but you need to have to encounter
Plus,
clowns.
they're the child's version of the jester. They're not jesters. They're nightmare jesters
They're
from a
nightmare
specific child's
jesters.
mind.
Who likes clowns? Like, I remember seeing there was an article once about this children's like 95% of this children's hospital residents, like, the children being treated, didn't like clowns. And there was this like organization that was like, we've shown that children love clowns. It was a clown organization. It's like, yes, we know you don't agree with this survey, but like the reality is most people don't like clowns. Okay. Like, it's just, they're freaky.
Yeah, wilderness camping is good for your health. This statistic was brought to you by wild bears.
Exactly.
So it's like-
Exactly.
So yeah, but still, when people are going to see me next? Well, for our next RPG session, and I'm trying to find some time and energy and everything to actually stream some Moonstone Island, maybe, because it's a game that I enjoyed, that I told Arthur about today.
Yeah.
Because it's a game that I enjoyed last year a lot, so much that I actually sat down and wrote a review for it, which I think is like the third review I wrote for a game in my whole life or
Nice.
something. Also, you should write reviews for your favorite indie games because it's really good for them. And so I'm still looking into that, and also looking forward to a few releases that I cannot talk about yet, but I'm very excited about and would stream when they happen. So yeah, I would like to stream more, I feel, but so far it hasn't happened. But I try. I really do. So see you.
We will look forward to that one way or the other. You heard it here. Pyron J told us Half-Life 3 confirmed. So that's
that's definitely what I meant.
totally confirmed.
And
exactly.
Regina would agree.
It was a great pleasure to have these folks with us. Chat, can we get some love for the amazing crew of GOG with Talisman Adventures? Thank you so much to Pyron J. Thank you so much to Darksaber2K. We'll have Mike back with us next month, and thank you so much to Undeveloped Bruce. Wonderful work, players, as always. I will see you back here next month. Bye for now.
Bye.
And that, folks, is going to do it for us for tonight. That was a lot of fun, and I am very excited. Whoops. No, I'm here. Hi, how are you? I am very excited to see how this is all going to go down. The experience of playing with these folks in these two campaigns and playing with a system like Talisman has been really enjoyable, partly because I think, my favorite game is Dungeons and Dragons. What a shock. Stop the presses. But my favorite board game was always Talisman. And I played Talisman a ton growing up. And obviously I love Talisman, the digital edition. I've played a bunch on this channel with Saber and Pyron and Mike and others. And, so I love that game. And so getting a chance to combine tabletop role-playing with Talisman in a way that really captures it is great. I think it's a shame that that game is sort of come to an end for the moment anyway, until somebody else picks up the license, because I really think there's some interesting mechanics to it, and it really kind of encapsulates and captures the feel of it, which I think is a lot of fun. But we've gotten a good long campaign out of it, and that's been great. But it's going to be a little bittersweet when it finally comes to an end. Plus this awesome video that Mike did too will come to an end in a few months, but not quite. We have a couple of sessions left over. If you like what you saw and heard today, I hope you will follow us on GogCom's Twitch channel. I hope you'll sub to us here on GogCom GOG.com's Twitch channel. And I hope you'll click through and check out our individual channels, because we have our own individual subsystems and Patreons and stuff like that as well. I will be back with you folks here next Tuesday for episode 414. We are working out right now what the schedule looks like. I don't think, let me just double check and see. I think we considered... So it looks like we may have a full crew for Talisman next Tuesday. So it might just be a week before we continue this. And then we might have Saltmarsh, which would be later in the month in March. That might happen. So if that's the case, then it means 12th and the 19th, I would be finishing up with Dredge, and then moving on to whatever the next video game is going to be. So we will see what we will see what happens. So I'll be back here there with Tuesday. Also, I will be back on my own channel on Thursday with Chance of Senar, and I might start earlier because I'm actually on the earliest spring break known to man at the moment for my university, and we're going to be home. So I'm home at the moment. I finished up my work on my manuscript for Heretic, which is the last book in my Grey Assassin trilogy, so now it's just a matter of waiting for editorial comments. So that is off my plate for the moment, and I did a bunch of grading. I have a little more to do, but I've actually caught up a lot, or gotten ahead actually a little bit of where my grading's at. So my hope then is that means that I might be able to do maybe even a little bit of a bonus stream. Let's see if that happens. So that's possible. If so, you will hear it here first, or hear it at least via my Twitter or Blue Sky accounts first. So I could start FF7 Rebirth. Yes. But I may finish Chance of Senar before I start Hillness. So I'm looking forward to FF7 Rebirth. Don't get me wrong. I am very much looking forward to that. So we will see. But in any case, stay tuned on my channel for that. I will be here on Thursday, but I might have a bonus stream earlier on Thursday. We'll see. But anyway, that'll be that. And then closing in, that'll be the end of February. And then we'll be moving into Saturday, and we will be moving into the month of March to see what happens. Yeah. That's why I'm trying to do it on Blue Sky as well. So I am looking forward to that. And March will be upon us. So this is the last Pen and Pixels of Tuesday. Last thing I will mention is, that's not it. This is the one that I want. Last thing I will mention is that Kilgore will be coming at you in a few hours with Deus Ex tonight. So you'll be able to see some Deus Ex from Kilgore, who's been playing through this. So you will definitely want to check that out as we go through. But that is going to do it for me for the moment and for this evening. I want to thank everyone for being here and being awesome and being part of this experience. And I hope that, unlike what's happening in the game, that you folks have not nightmares, but actual pleasant dreams and comforting feelings alone, and that you don't think at all about things like, gestures. I'm sure it'll be fine. Things don't go bump in the night, usually. But that's going to do it for me. Thanks, everyone, for being awesome. I'll see you either back here for episode 414 of Pen and Pixels next week, or on my own channel in the next day or so with some more Chance of Senar as I get ready for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and a whole new big session of stuff coming up in March. Until then, everyone, please be good to each other, and I will see you folks soon. Thanks, everyone. Much love. Be good to each other, and bye for now.